think we're live. Hey, everybody. There we are. Okay. Now we just got to get our chat up. How's everybody doing? Let's make sure. Watch live now. Now we just got to get our chat. There we go. We haven't gone live for so long that we are right back to our technical difficulties because we don't know what we're doing. We're such wannabes. There we go. We got to add our chat up here so we can see what you guys are saying to us. How's everybody doing? Man, we have not been live like this kind of formatted live in gosh, well over a month now. Thank you guys all for being so patient with us while we go to funerals and have unexpected doctor visits and all sorts of fun stuff. So thank you everybody for being so patient with us as we're I've had so many of you request, when are you guys going to go live again? And I was like, oh my gosh, I hadn't even thought about that. And then of course, now that Sister Wives is back on, we used to go live every Monday night, and we haven't even done that yet because we were in Montana the first, I believe, the first week, and maybe we weren't, and then we were in the hospital on the second week. So, but yeah. Thank you. Yeah, Cory's sister passed in December, and then they did her celebration of life at her birthday, around her birthday. So yeah, we were in Montana for a week. We took so much footage while we were up there, so we're gonna be making that video here soon. Then we came home and got busy with my mom, and so we haven't had a chance to put any of that footage together, but we're going to. And my mom is sitting here on the side. She doesn't want to be in the video, but I'm sure she'll chime in her little 2 cents here and there on some of your guys' questions. So she's doing really well now. How are you doing, Mom?
Tons better.
She said she's doing a ton better. So she is just living in a 5-star hotel while Cory and I cater to her every need and make sure she's getting well taken care of. So yeah, it's been, somebody says, I love listening to your videos while I do your chores, or while I do my chores. That's awesome. Yeah, so Mom's doing so good now. It was a little bit of a scare there for a hot minute. All of us were worried, and it was kind of, I would say, pretty touch and go there for a second. For a few days, we were all really, really scared, but she is doing so much better now. And now we got therapists coming to the house to make sure she's all healed and can move around the way she's supposed to be moving around and doing the things that she's supposed to be doing, because she's not that old. But tomorrow is her birthday, so anybody feels like giving a shout out to a 71-year-old lady, she's just an old lady. Let's see if I can get some. So we have so much to talk about with these new episodes that have come out too. Oh my gosh, we have been watching these, and I can't really let a heart patient watch any more Sister Wives because it gets her heart pressure right back up there. These last couple of episodes have been funny. I don't think I told you this yet, Mom, but we have a group chat between my siblings, and I was telling everyone's like, how's Mom doing? I'm like, can't let her watch Sister Wives anymore. It's going to throw her heart pressure way over what it's supposed to be. And all of them are like, you're letting her watch Sister Wives? What are you doing? Are you trying to kill her? So we've been advised not to let her watch these episodes anymore, especially right now because they hit so close to home. And so, yeah, I'll see all the happy birthdays to you.
I know, it's so sweet.
Oh, she says you guys are all so sweet. Yeah, she'll be 71 tomorrow. Can I throw your
I've earned it.
Your age out? I think you've earned it too, so I think you should totally own it. So yeah, all these happy birthdays to you, Mom. Hey, good. I'm glad you guys are here from Illinois. Yeah, we've had so many people all over. I was curious if you knew how old Christine was when her mom left her dad. I want to say that she was, gosh, we were young. I remember, my mom would probably remember that a little bit more than I would. Because I want to say that I was probably like 15, so Christine was probably 19?
Probably. We were in
18 or 19?
First door.
Yeah. So I would say Christine was probably 18 or 19 when her mom left. I know there's a picture of Christine in her graduation that's out there, of her and her mom and dad, and then Grandma Myrtle. Christine's grandma, I used to refer to her as my grandma too, because she adopted my dad basically when he came into the AUB. And so he was kind of her adoptive mother. And so I always called her Grandma as well. And so there's that picture out there that is Christine and her mom and dad and Grandma Myrtle on there. And so she would have been 18 at her graduation. And so yeah, I think that she would have probably been about 17, 18, 19, something like that when they got divorced. Somebody says, can you adopt me? I'm momless. In the AUB, that really does happen a lot, where if you convert to the AUB, there's typically like matriarchs or people that will kind of bring you in. Oh, you got the chat up? Oh, you're a genius.
There we go.
Corey's been hyper-focused trying to get the chat up. But they'll kind of like adopt you into, because a lot of families they'll disown their family members. Like Corey's mom, her family kind of disowned her, maybe didn't disown her, but she stepped away from the family for a while. And then same with my mom, her family kind of, I'd say your family kind of disowned you a little bit more, huh?
For a couple of years I wasn't allowed in the house.
Yeah, and so these matriarchs and some of the priesthood holders or whatever will adopt and kind of take owner, hey, come to our family get-togethers, that type of thing. And that's what Christine's grandma did for my dad. Would you say? Yeah. Grandma Myrtle was probably more of that. That's where I learned my first Tinker toys, learned my first Lincoln Logs, was at her house.
Because they were rich. We played with sticks and pine cones.
Corey has now joined the chat. Now that he's all done trying to figure out our... we haven't done this for so long, we couldn't figure out how to get the chat box back up. So, yeah, Corey's excited. But, yeah, the graduation picture was in the first episode. They showed it on the show often, but usually Rex is blurred out. Okay, yeah. So Rex's younger brother was my dad's best friend. So that's how Grandma Myrtle kind of adopted them, was from that.
Well, your dad lived with her for a while when he went to college.
Oh, I didn't know that. So my dad lived with her and probably her son too, huh? Mm-hmm. For a couple of years while he went to college up at the University of Utah.
Yeah, I would say my mom probably, if you're using the word disowned, but she just kind of disappeared until I was born. And
okay.
Then my parent.
You can't kind of tell, so you got to tell the whole story of that.
Yeah, so, she was living with my grandparents, and then she just got married and moved in, but didn't tell my grandparents that she got married. And so when she got pregnant with me, she kind of just hid from them.
Yeah.
My grandma saw her every once in a while, but then after I was born, then she said, hey, I got married and here's your grandkid. So
yeah.
And then they started to build a relationship again.
But it took a long time for them. And that happens a lot when people join polygamy. That will happen quite often, where they will just disappear off the planet and this is part of, so I did a video on what makes a cult a cult. And this is one of the steps that makes it a cult, is that you isolate those people for a long period of time until they can get their feet under them, and then they're integrated into the cult. That is really true. That's what happens, is that people will isolate from their families, so there's no reasoning. You can't talk to them. You can't tell them, what are you doing? They just kind of disappear for a while until they get their establishment in the society, the religion, the cult, whatever it is that they're joining. And then they start to get that established relationships and different family type things. I don't know that a lot of it is done with malice intent necessarily. It's done with the intent of, oh, we want this person in our society, so let's integrate them, and then they do tend to be as isolated from their natural born families until that integration is completely taken place. So let's see. Yeah, Christine was a year older than me in high school, because we shared lockers next to each other mostly in high school. So or maybe she was 2 years older than me. So if she's born in she's a year. She was born in 72. I was born in 74. So yeah, maybe 2 years older than me. So yeah, Lincoln Logs are just plastic sticks. Yeah, that's funny. That's where I played with my first set of Tinker toys and Lincoln Logs. And it's funny because like some of the toy stores started doing like retro toys and stuff, and I actually went and bought a set of all those for my children because I had such good memories, fond memories of being at Grandma Myrtle's playing with those on the floor. Here's a question. Does the AUB and the LDS have beef with each other, or do they mainly ignore each other? I don't know that, I wouldn't say perhaps beef with each other. Is more, the AUB, or the Mormon Church does not recognize the AUB has any sort of, any authority,
Connection.
religious connection, affiliation, anyway. But I know that they have, like, there was some communications earlier in the days. I don't know if there still is to this day, but they really just don't even acknowledge it. Now, I was always raised to have respect for the LDS Church, and because both my parents were born and raised into the LDS Church, and I was always taught to have respect for it. And the AUB does believe that eventually the church and the AUB believes they hold the priesthood, and that the church is like the feminine mother and the priesthood is the masculine father, and that one day they will be joined back together.
The AUB is over them.
Yeah, the AUB is superior to the Mormon Church is what they believe. And one day they will allow the Mormon Church to come back and hold the priesthood again.
Yeah, hold the correct priesthood.
Right.
Keys to the priesthood.
Right. Thank you guys so much for all of the encouragements to like our channel and follow us. Oh my gosh, our channel is growing so fast, and
we appreciate you guys.
Yeah, we missed 2 weeks because we went up to Montana, came back, and then just went straight into mom mode, taking care of mom. She's over here, oh, it's okay, sorry, but we would do it again. Cory started the story halfway through and then said the end. He did. I'm like, you can't do that. You can't start till a little bit. Let's see. Isolation is used as a tactic with most people with narcissism and or other personality disorders. Allegedly, that's what Cody and Robin did. Yeah.
Or cults.
So, yeah. If you haven't checked out that video, I really go into detail about what creates a cult, what defines a cult, and then I give real life examples that I experienced growing up in the AUB, and isolation and love bombing. So it's isolation and love bombing are the two that really coincide together. Oh, yeah.
If both your parents were originally LDS, what caused them to switch to the AUB?
Rulin Allred was the leader, and he's the one who actually converted both of my parents, right? Which is Christine's grandpa. That's why she's considered AUB royalty.
Well, Rulin was very charismatic.
Yep, I was just going to say that.
Incredible men I've ever met.
Yeah, Rulin was a very, very charismatic man, and people just loved him. He was very soft-spoken. He was very thoughtful. He was very, and so people just really, really loved him. And he made it easy to convert people through. And I think to this degree, even though you've left Dad, I think you still believe in the religion part of it. So yeah, so they genuinely believe. I feel like my dad does too, with his whole heart beliefs that he is that it's a true religion. Let's see, where are you reading? Yeah, I see you smirking. What are you smirking about?
They just ask does AUB send out missionaries? Yes and no.
They used to proselyte a lot more. Oh my gosh, don't even go on that story. He's thinking
they do it through Match.com now.
I knew he was going to go there. I knew it. There's a lot of AUB members that might have dating sites. And so we've just recently found out some of this, and yeah, I knew he was going to go there with that. Mm-hmm. We don't want to call anyone out specifically, but there are AUB members that do have
still
dating profiles, and Cory considers that proselyting because he's trying to get a new wife.
Or you can buy a Russian wife or a Puerto Rican wife.
Yeah, or you can buy a wife in a different country and bring her back here, and that happens a lot too. Which is interesting because the AUB gets called out for racism all the time, and yet they go out and get some of these other wives, or they'll go down to Mexico and marry this really young one and bring her back to America. So that happens too. Mm-hmm. Everyone knows where the real dirt is going to get dug up when it's with you all. Oh no. Yeah, let's see. Any way to turn the volume up? I'm at work and it's loud. I'm in here. Loud in here. Volume? Oh, I don't know. We're at max volume right now because Cory's so soft spoken all the time that we try to turn him up and turn me down because I talk so loud. That reminds me, when are you going to post your videos from Montana? As soon as we have time to edit them together, we will. Unfortunately, well, it's not unfortunately, but there was a lot of little kids up there, and we don't want to put any kids in there. And so they all wanted to see what we were doing and what we were recording. So they're all coming up to us and talking to us. So we're going to have to do a lot of editing to pull out those children because we're just not going to put children on it.
Thanks, Key.
Yeah.
We sound great.
Yeah. Oh, sweet. Okay. Last episode, Cody said that the AUB is hard to get into and easy to get out of. How selective is the AUB now in terms of allowing new members? Yeah, well, Cody Brown's full of a lot of shit.
Yeah,
a lot of what he said in that last episode was just complete bullshit, and I'll just be honest about that. I have some strong opinions about it.
Get into maybe getting other wives, but as long as you're paying a good full tithing, you can be a part of and kiss the appropriate rings.
Yeah.
You can become a part of the AUB pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Pretty easily, I guess, I think.
I think it's a lot harder to become a part of it now because they've had so many people infiltrate the whole community and then leave and then do articles and do stories about the AUB. And so I think people are just, especially when Big Love came out, and then you've got Sister Wives, so people are curious, they're looky-loos, they're not necessarily serious about their religion. So now it's a lot harder to get in there. And it is harder to get out of. I don't care what he says on TV. It's hard to get out of, especially when that is so ingrained into your psyche and your belief system, and you really truly believe that your eternal salvation is on the line. It's not an easy thing to get out of. So I loved how he said marriage was a cult too.
Yeah.
It makes him a cult leader.
Elizabeth, yes, I've been to Wisdom, Montana. So.
Oh yeah, we drive through Wisdom. We just drove through there on our way home. We drive there and back on our way home up there. Let's see. Oh, there was a question that went right. Is your mom excited to hang out with her favorite son-in-law?
Of course.
She says, of course.
Where is he?
Corey's definitely the favorite son-in-law.
Nice.
Sorry to all you other suckers out there. I know my mom is, or I know my husband is. Let's see. Let me see if I can catch up here. We are so zoomed in. It's crazy. We got to figure that out. Let me see if I can get to another question here. I saw one and it jumped, and I wanted to get back to it. Oh, Rulin Allred's funeral was held at my high school. You went to that funeral, didn't you, Mom?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
My baby was 6 weeks old, and he just delivered.
Oh, wow.
Brian was one of the last babies he delivered.
Oh, yeah. My little brother was one of the very last babies that Rulin delivered before he was killed.
LDS mission.
Yeah, we got somebody on here from New Zealand. Thank you. Not trying to be divisive, but I wonder if deconstructing your religious views led to a shift in political views as well. We definitely won't talk politics on our channel, but I wouldn't say so. I feel like for me, I've always had very constitutionalistic political views. I don't really care. I'm not a party per se as much as I am a constitutionalist more of anything else. And I always feel like I always have been that way, and I know you are too. Mm-hmm. So no, I wouldn't necessarily see, that's what's so sad is that politics are so divisive in our country now. It's sad to see the state of our country that way. Go ahead.
I grew up, part of our schooling was reading the Constitution and reading a whole bunch of books around it. So I basically studied that all through high school, was the Constitution. So
yeah.
Now, as long as nobody's stepping on constitutional rights, then
yeah.
And I absolutely agree that church and state should be separate. So
right, absolutely. Somebody says, is AUB Mexico like a vacation resort, or is it more like a desert close to the LeBaron colony? Mexico, the colony in Mexico is about 60 miles outside of Mexico City. So it's pretty central. Like it's far away from the border, where the LeBarons are closer to the border. And so I don't think that they're really anywhere close to each other. They're pretty distant from each other, but it is not a resort at all. My ex-husband, his father is from there. So my older 3 children are Hispanic, and he actually had to help when he was a young boy. I believe he helped get electricity to town. So it's a very small little town, and I know they've just put a really beautiful temple apparently in there as well.
Some of my older brothers that had social security numbers and passports went down there and worked down there. We as kids didn't get to go down there to the. Afraid we wouldn't get back across the border. So
as you can guess,
okay.
quite a few AUB members did not have birth certificates. My kids did not have birth certificates until my oldest was about 7.
Yeah.
We just didn't want the government involved in our business.
KJ says I was literally contacted through an LDS missionary on Facebook while he was doing his work in New York. Huh.
Oh.
I didn't know they could get on social media.
I didn't think they could either. But
they
the Mormon Church still obviously has
Yeah,
thousands of missionaries all across the world, but the AUB doesn't necessarily go out there and proselyte anymore.
The colony is next to this volcano.
Yeah, the colony down in they call it the colony down in Mexico. It's the volcano, the Popa something or other volcano. Popocatépetl. I'm slaughtering that, and I'm so sorry. But yeah, it's a very, very small colony down there. I don't know how many members that they have down there. I know my ex-father-in-law had a wife down there. He had a wife in Utah and he had a wife in Montana. So it's very common for these polygamist men to have a wife in multiple different places. But he still has a wife in Mexico, I believe, unless she's passed already.
I think he does.
Yeah, I think she passed. But he actually got a new one, I thought, but I don't know. So we got Denmark on here. Hi, Denmark.
Hi, guys.
Let's see. Oh, we wish you luck in making your baby tomorrow. But thank you. Thank you for being on here. Let's see. How do you like physically leaving and emotionally leaving are two very different things, right? In the AUB,
Takes a lot longer.
It is a lot easier to leave, from what I've understand the AUB, than it is to leave like the order, or it is to leave the FLDS church. The AUB, you don't really have to escape the AUB, you just stop going, or you just don't participate anymore.
Or you get excommunicated.
Yeah, or in Cory's
the
case, you
easiest
get
way.
excommunicated and kicked out.
You know.
But there has been in previously some people who tried to leave and their parents said no, and their parents went and took them back and made them come back to church. But that's individual. That's not an AUB teaching as a whole. Go ahead.
This will tell you how naive I was. When I was 21, I did go to Mexico. I was working down in California, and I went across the border into Mexico. I didn't have a passport or even ID
He left
at
his
the
driver's
time.
license in the hotel.
Yeah, and the border guard was really, really kind to me and basically said, don't leave your country of origin without identification that you actually live there. And I'm like, okay. So yeah, he gave me a whole tutorial on how not to leave the U.S. without proper ID. So
Yeah.
I went and got a passport and all that stuff after that. So.
And that just shows you how ignorant so
Yeah,
many
we
of us are. You know, you can call it naivety, ignorance, whatever you want to call it, but we were very ignorant to a lot of that type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because yeah, I only got my kids' birth certificates when my ex-husband and I wanted to take our children down to Mexico. And this is back when you could take a child across the border and back with just a birth certificate. And we realized we couldn't take them to see where he was from because we didn't have birth certificates for our children. So that's when we filed and finally got birth certificates. Kelly says, how hard would it be for Janelle to get a release since Mary already got one? Is it typically easier for a woman to get one if another wife has already been released? You want to say something about that?
Yeah, so sometimes, yeah. If he's shown that he's basically abandoned one wife, he's most likely abandoned, and he's shown it on TV. So yeah, I'm not the prophet of the AUB, but yeah, you'd probably be able to get a release if you wanted to, Janelle.
I think she would absolutely be able to get one, like no problem, if she went and requested one. Mostly because just Cody has done all of this stuff publicly on TV, and so I feel like he kind of hung himself, if you know, for a better term. And so I feel like really, it would be fairly easy for Janelle to go get a release if she wanted one. She would just have to state her claim and why she wanted one. They're not just going to give her one without her making the request, because they take these sealings extremely seriously, and because it's literally eternal life and eternal consequences. It's not just mortal consequences on the earth. And so, but yes, she could get one very easily. Mary offered to go with her. I'll go with you. It's my dad who would have to give her the release. I'm sure he wouldn't be happy to see me, but it would still be fine. I'd do it.
There's only one lady in this room that probably have more difficulty getting a release.
Probably won't get one.
That'd be my mom.
Yeah.
I keep telling her she should try for one, but yeah, when my dad's the one who has to give her the release, I think she's like screwed out of that.
Hello, Scotland.
Somebody says, do a lot of LDS people convert to the AUB? Because Cody, so was Cody and his family were LDS as well as Janelle. Is that very common? It really is, because they already have the foundation on fundamental doctrine and teachings. And so more people, they'll start studying more of the original church teachings, and that will lead them to polygamy. That will lead them to either the AUB or one of the other groups, because they are already studying the original doctrine of Mormonism. And so that would be the main, it's very uncommon for somebody to just randomly pick up a religion and then come into the AUB. That would be very uncommon. It's a lot more common for people.
Yeah, back in the day, you didn't need a passport. Yeah, that's probably right. He was just asking for my ID, and I safely left that in my apartment back in California. So yeah, I probably should have carried it. I carry it now everywhere I go. So.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. When did Cody do his mission trip? Like what age? In the LDS church, you're typically going to be 19 to 24 or 25. I think they raised the limit to 25, maybe 26. And so you'll serve a 2-year mission if you're a boy, sometime between that age. And then you'll serve it if you're a girl sometime between that age too. But the girls, I believe, are 18 months and the boys are a full 2 years. Let's see.
And I didn't serve a mission, so I was too old.
Yeah, and by the time you joined the LDS church, you were 24, right? So yeah, you were too old. Someone says, glad your mom's doing better. Does she think Janelle should get a release from the church?
I think she's already released because of Cody's unrighteousness.
Yeah, you probably can't hear her, but she said she believes that Janelle is already released from Cody because of his unrighteousness. And they will say that. They do say there is a teaching out there. A lot of people, this is one where people argue or debate about it, where it's like, you can't take another man's priesthood from him, that type of thing. Like, only the leader of the church can take the priesthood away from a man. But then there's also the teachings that if you're unrighteous, you lose your priesthood. So that's a very controversial and debatable subject. Which we are not going to get into because we are not authorities on that at all. We're not authorities on a lot of stuff, but that kind of stuff there's going to be other people that can give you deeper into the doctrine. Go ahead. I hear you breathing.
Mel,
like you're going to say something.
Do you think your dad ever watches your channel?
I think my dad has people watch the channel for him and give him summaries of what's happening. He doesn't have time to be bothered with stuff like this. He's too busy and important. And so my mom's smirking, but no, I think there are people who watch the channel. It's so funny because every video that we put out, we get like 5 or 6 down dislikes or down votes, because you know how you can like it or dislike it. And I swear they're the same 4 or 5 people on every single video. And I think a lot of those are, people who come and read stuff for my dad. But no.
Well, he probably gets his updates from the Lord, so it means the Lord's probably watching our videos.
The Lord's summarizing.
Summarizing.
Oh my
for
gosh.
him. So.
Now you're going to be sacrilegious.
Well, he talks to the Lord, so Lord can give him updates.
That's funny. Let's see.
Thanks, Lord, for watching our videos.
Oh gosh. Oh my gosh. Now look at my mom's face. She's going to kick your butt. So somebody says, I think it's very telling to see Mary struggle on the show about Cody's wrath. That shows how embedded the religion can be. I really related to this part of it because I felt the same way. I was so afraid of what my ex-husband was going to do. You know, and it's even been said, Christine even said she has nightmares sometimes that she's married to Cody again. I have these regularly, poor Cory. He'll be like, don't punish me for something somebody else did in your dream, because I'll wake up and terrified, like, oh my gosh, I thought I was still married to him. And it gets into your psyche to the point where it feels damaging. And so when Mary said that, I completely understood that. I was terrified a lot of times, and he did spend a lot of time in jail because of how aggressive his behavior became towards me and towards my children. Because most of these men genuinely, with their entire soul and heart, believe that they are above the law and that they do not have to report to the laws. The laws of the land do not apply to them. I mean, you can clearly see that with Warren Jeffs.
They are the law.
Yeah.
They are the law. They are the rulers over their own family. So.
Yeah. And so it's really hard because you are so indoctrinated, and so they feel like they can do whatever they want to you and to your children, if you are the woman. And I love how Mary says that. I'm so mad at myself for being this afraid of his wrath. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, she is afraid of him. And for years I was afraid of him too, my ex-husband, and it took me a long time to get away from that, to break through that. Oh, I love it. Thank you, Kathy. Kathy says, Melanie, you have a lot of Sister Wives fans who love your take. Thank you. I appreciate that. Oh, we got somebody in here from Scotland. My mom is doing so much better. She's doing so much better. It was kind of touch and go last week. It was really scary. But she's doing so much better. Hope you connect with the psychology in Seattle in the future. Would love to do that interview. Oh, thank you. Yeah. I've watched a couple of his episodes because there was a girl from the AUB that went on his episodes, and I watched a little bit of that. I just did an interview with Cults to Consciousness, so that one will be coming out here pretty soon. Hopefully in the next couple of weeks.
If she gets her pictures over there.
Oh, I did. I emailed everything.
Oh, did you?
Yep.
Okay.
So you'll see new pictures of my family or me when I was younger, and that will be coming out on YouTube, on her YouTube channel. So I'm excited. That was a great conversation, and we'll probably do more things in the future together. Shalice from Cults to Consciousness. I'm aware of Robin's sister being a wife of a bishop. You know who that is?
Mm-mm.
Mike.
Oh.
Yeah. So does her and Cody's failed plural marriage affect their relationship? Does it look bad for Fawn's husband to associate with Cody? There's a name. Yeah. Not necessarily. I don't think so. The AUB isn't as strict about that type of stuff as FLDS is. Would you say?
Yeah. People still associate with me, and I was excommunicated, so.
Yeah, I don't think that it's as
cordial.
Yeah, some people are really strict about it, but it's individual. It's not an AUB teaching per se that they are all going to be, that you can't associate with your outside family. Mm-hmm. Too bad your dad can't just call Janelle and just give her a release over the phone. Yeah, no, that's not how it works. Not when you're dealing with eternal salvation and eternal life. These things have to be handled in person. Text messages don't cut it, unfortunately. Let's see. I wanted to catch. You've mentioned that you left your church and returned and then left again. What made you go back the first time? So I left when the previous prophet was eyeballing my little 2-year-old girl is when I left the first time. And I had felt like I was kind of going through a crisis of faith at that point. I hadn't totally deconstructed the religion at all. And then I had a baby when my little girl was almost 5. She was 4.5. And my baby's heart didn't grow completely altogether. And I thought God was punishing me. My marriage was in a really bad place. I was on the brink of divorce already, and I thought God was punishing me for leaving. And so he gave me this sick baby. So I went back and I got rebaptized. I had forgotten that I'd gotten rebaptized. But I just found those baptism certificates the other day. And so I got rebaptized. I had my garments placed back on me. And then I was 100% dedicated to everything about the church. I went every Sunday. I was extremely loyal. And then, and then it just, my ex-husband's curricular activities outside of our marriage were not getting any better. They were getting worse. He was hiring paid people, and
he was proselyting.
He was proselyting with prostitutes. And so, it was really hard. And it just kept getting brushed under the rug by the leadership because he was in the good graces of the prophet at the time. And then I just literally just went, what am I doing? And so finally I just kind of woke up to that and decided I was leaving, and then I left for good and never went back again. I was 25 when I did that. 25, almost 26 when I did that. But yeah, it was, I mean, when you're born and raised into something and it's all you've ever known, and then something traumatic, a life event that's so traumatic happens, it gets, you start to question everything. Like, shoot, God's punishing me. Oh, shoot, I did the wrong thing. And so I didn't have the mental fortitude, the emotional fortitude, the spiritual fortitude to, and I was uneducated. I didn't know what to do, to how to take care of 3 babies on my own, and especially a sick baby. And so I just went back and begged, cried to my dad, Dad, what do I do? And so I ended up going back for a couple of years. Let's see. If Janelle got a release, would it make it harder for Cody and Robin to go back into the AUB with 2 releases and 1 wife who straight up left? I think it's already going to be hard for them to go back if they wanted to.
Well, I think they'd be able to go back and pay tithing. To get another wife, that would be a process probably.
Right.
So they'd have to, I don't know, pay a lot of tithing. So
yeah. I feel like that would be the only reason they'd be welcomed back, is for financial gain. I don't know that it would be any other reason. But I feel like he's made it perfectly clear. I feel like he's doing everything he can publicly to burn every bridge he can with the AUB, where Robin's over here like, hold on, I still believe, I still want to be a part of this. And so I feel like Robin's got 1 foot in, 1 foot out, and Cody's over here burning them bridges as fast as he can. Somebody says, oh my goodness, I didn't even think about that for your mom. My hell, learning about her leaving, it seems like it's just getting more and more difficult for her. Let her know she's a superstar to us. Today's been especially rough on her for that. So thank you for those kind words, because she's going through it hard right now. And you think what Cody's doing to the wives of Coyote Pass is rough. That's nothing compared to what the leader of a cult will do to a wife after 50 years. It's nothing compared to that. My dad has no shits to give about anyone else, especially not somebody who's been devoted for 50 years. Hopefully that's okay. I say all that. Let's see. I'm trying to catch up. What? Who in their right mind would dislike your videos? Oh, that makes more sense. That's what I said. Who wouldn't like our videos? Like, I know we're new, and I know we have a lot of technical issues, and I know we're kind of we're a shit show in the making, but I was like, we're genuine, we're honest, we try to be as sincere and honest as we can, but it makes sense that I think, and there's other creators out there who get competitive and want people to dislike your stuff too. Oh, go ahead.
How does somebody like Cody, who wasn't raised in the AUB, learn to behave as he does, as if he was raised in it? Well, he was raised in the LDS Church, and all of the same, they use all the same teachings and dogma. They just have now had a revelation that they no longer live polygamy, where the AUB goes, we still live polygamy. We feel like that we should still live polygamy, and that revelation, they feel like that revelation was for the bulk of the church, so that the church wouldn't be attacked by the U.S. government anymore, that there's special people set aside to still live polygamy so it never leaves the earth. And so they all, even the LDS Church has similar, the first bulk of their prophets were the same as the AUB's bulk of prophets. So their teachings are all there. The AUB just chooses now not to, or the LDS Church doesn't live the polygamy part, but he would have learned a lot of how to be a husband, how to be a leader of his house from the LDS church. So
yeah, the first 7, I believe it's first 7 prophets of the Mormon Church are the same prophets of the AUB, and then there was a separation. So they all had the same. And then when that separation happened, that's when the FLDS was formed, and they went their way and had their own prophets, and the AUB went their way and had their own prophets. But I believe it's the first. I just did the song in my head to count the prophets, and I believe it's the first 7 that are the same. Oh, it seems like Hunky Uncle, that's hilarious, says it seems like the bloodline isn't as important in the AUB like it is in the Kingston group. Like having pioneer ancestors, you are seen more important than someone converting not from Joseph Smith's origins. I would say that's true to some degree, but it's still important to certain people. They like to brag about their bloodlines.
Yeah, those who have their lineage back to the original pioneers are considered to have more blessings for them and their heritage.
Yeah.
So while people who come in maybe need to work on those blessings, gaining those blessings, and so as they are in it longer and have more generations in the AUB, then they can get blessings or curses upon their families. So
well, somebody says LDS is still living polygamy. Both Nelson and Oaks have 2 women still to them, and that's what they believe, is that they'll live polygamy in the afterlife based on people sealed to them.
They're just not doing it at the same time.
Right.
So.
Right. I want to answer this one because this one's a great one. Thank you, Sarah. It says, says Melanie, why is your dad offering spiritual releases based on abandonment? Damn it, my mom just walked out of the room and I wanted her to hear this one. Mom, you better be listening on your phone. Doesn't your dad have favorites and is not equitable himself? How does he justify this? That's a great question. We wonder the same thing. Like, my mom has been, there's so many levels to this one that just frustrate me, and I have to be careful because there's current things that are happening that I can't talk about online yet. But it is really, it's hard to talk about. My mom's the most senior wife. She's been married to my dad for 52 years, and has literally dedicated her entire life to him. So that is a very good question about how he can be so unequitable and unfair. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. No, first of all, the wife has to go and ask for the release sometimes. Sometimes if the brethren find out or deem a man unworthy, they can usually excommunicate him and give a blanket release to all of his wives. But usually if it's a wife coming and asking for a release, and to be honest, abandonment is probably the lightest of all the crimes that you can get a release for. So unrighteous dominion, there's a few others too of what justifies a release in the AUB, and abandonment's the lightest sentence. But
right.
If a wife comes and asks for it, and that the reason Cody didn't go and dispute that he had abandoned her or tell his side of the story, and so without a dispute, then they just gave her a release for abandonment. He says right there in that last episode that if he had disputed it, she probably wouldn't have got the release, but then he would have been...
Which is not true.
Yeah,
I think she still would have gotten the release.
Possibly, but he would have been stuck with her for time and
what
all
a
eternity.
Jerk. Who
and he
says
didn't
that
want
shit?
that,
He's
so
such a jerk.
He's like to be a monogamous, so he's not going to dispute the release. So he was just upset that they said that he abandoned her, and he letting you people, the Gentiles, everybody out in the world, he didn't abandon her. But he's okay with the sentence of her release. So
yeah, it's so infuriating to watch that scene. I'm like, oh, he's got to get his 2 cents that he didn't abandon her, that she wouldn't have gotten this release on her own merits. I'm like, what a total jackass. My mom says to me the other day, man,
That's
I'd love to watch you guys run into Cody. Oh my gosh, I would love to run into Cody too one day. No, I don't think I would, because I probably wouldn't be very nice.
Probably go to jail.
And I want to be a nice person. I try to be nice, but I just think it's disgusting that he has to say these things online or on TV about this. I just think it's gross and disgusting that he has to defend himself like that. Like,
He's
I
just justifying
uninvolved
himself.
myself, but
Yeah.
she wouldn't have gotten what she got if I had bothered.
Yeah, but he didn't say anything, so yeah, that's why she got the release, because he didn't even argue it.
Right.
So he didn't want to argue it.
But
So-
in the AUB, they're recategorizing things. And so this is infuriating to me too, because abuse is no longer called abuse. It's called unrighteous dominion or righteous anger. And so if they're trying to like soften the blow with a religious terminology of some sort, oh, I didn't beat my wife. I just unrighteously dominionated over her. Is dominionated a word?
No.
It's not. But yeah, it's just infuriating to listen to the complete stupidity and the rationale of these men who think way too highly of themselves. No.
Yeah, only in theory says, I wonder if Cody ever listens to himself. He's actually listening to what Robin told him to say.
So, hey, May Danger, thanks for being here. She says, woohoo, I found you all this weekend and have been binging all of your back catalogs for days. I love it. Even my husband will watch and is cracked up by Cory's facial pulls. Thank you for
Thank
what you
you.
do. Cory's got a funny looking face. I love it too. Only in theory says, my heart goes out to you. What we have a hard time doing for ourselves, we will do for our children. What a great mom. Thank you. It is, because I honestly would never have pulled myself out of it if it hadn't been for my kids.
You want better for
Yeah.
your kids, so. Then,
Yeah. No, and somebody says, what do you think about Cody baptizing Aurora into another faith he doesn't prescribe to? I think he did it for great television. I don't think I think it was disrespectful for him to whisper in the Mormon ideology, prayer, whatever you want to call it. I think it's disrespectful to the church he was being baptized into. But hey, it made great TV, so there you go. I don't think Cody respects a lot of anyone else's firm, beliefs or religions.
Well, he was just letting her know that, yeah, he baptized her, and he was going to do it by the right authority, so that, because baptism, I guess baptism is usually you get baptized in the AUB, you would get baptized, and then you would get a blessing into membership of that church. So
Right.
But yeah, I think he was just doing the baptism part of it with the right authority. So,
He wanted to make sure all of the bases were covered, that she wasn't actually
And
just
I
not
probably-
coming unto Jesus, that she was just,
But she needs to be properly confirmed.
well,
Yeah.
right.
After.
My mom says it's not just the baptism, it's the confirmation after the baptism that matters too. And that's true, especially the Mormonism, they believe that there's the two-step process. Elizabeth Robert, oh, go ahead.
just because if you don't have the right authority baptizing you, then you're just bathing. So splashing around bathing.
In an animal trough, do you hear him say that?
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Didn't want her just to be bathing in front of everybody. Gotta have the right authority.
Right.
So,
Well, Elizabeth Roberts says, where does that mindset come from? I cannot tell you how many times my adult daughters have said to me, I'm afraid God is punishing us. I didn't realize I had carried that mindset until watching your lives.
mhm.
Oh, well, I'm glad that helped. Yeah, because honestly, I feel like that mindset comes out of shame and fear and guilt. And when you're raised in a fear-based and guilt and shame-based culture, then that's what you get. Everything, you're doing everything for fear of a punishment. You're not doing it for the blessing of the reward.
Well, from the Old Testament too. The Lord of the Old Testament punished you. So if
It's
you're
true.
disobedient, so that's where our parents. Well, my parents basically taught me that God would punish you if you were being disobedient
Yeah.
to His precepts. So
Yeah, so a lot of it is scriptural too. I absolutely agree. Kim C says, if it weren't for the show, the OG3 would have walked away with the clothes on their backs and maybe a really stupid junk journal.
yeah,
And that is very true.
That's
And
the truth.
It is so sad because this is one of the reasons why we want to support Holding Out Help as much as we do, because they really do step in and help these women who have nothing. Like a couple weeks ago when my sister was on here and she was saying how grateful she was because they just have a closet full of random things that you wouldn't even think about, like baby wipes for your baby, or even
Diapers,
cleaning
paper,
supplies for
cleaning
your
supplies.
house, things that we take almost for granted on a daily basis, that these women literally walk out with nothing.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, if anyone can support Holding Out Help, I'm going to put a link to their website. I don't have a link to donate to them quite yet, but I want to put a link to their website.
There's hundreds of people. Well, yeah, there's hundreds of women that leave polygamy that don't have a big show, and they leave with the clothes on their back. So.
Yeah. And it's sad. Some of them leave. I mean, I know some of the stories that Holding Out Help is told, and these women, sometimes their children leave with not even shoes on their feet, and that's just to get out. Somebody says, is it strange to you that Cody and Robin apparently haven't been going to any type of church for decades, but still talk to their kids and the cameras about how devout they are? It's not strange just because I'm used to it. It's a level of hypocrisy that we see all the time. They might
hold their own.
Yeah, their own like church type
services.
Meetings at their home. You saw that in earlier seasons.
Yeah.
And so that is something that a lot of people will do. We see that all the time.
Anywhere where two or more gather. Yeah, that's the teaching. So
is that a scripture? Wherever two or more are gathered in my name,
I think it's in the Bible.
I will. Then the Spirit of God would be there.
And so he's gathering those of his family that are still there, probably, and being the leader of his own family.
Yeah.
Teaching.
Yeah, I'm trying to I'm like so far behind on the comments. I'm sorry. I'm trying to catch up here. Let's see. Okay, thank you guys for the encouragement of liking our video. We really appreciate that. Can you believe how fast our channel's been growing?
Yeah.
Like we hit our 10,000 mark, and I was like, now we're at 11, and we're almost at 11.4, 11.5. So thank you guys for getting the word out.
As a Catholic, there's no way that they would let Cody baptize anyone.
Yeah, that was a little odd to me.
So as an AUB member or a AUB, there would have been no other denomination of church coming in and performing baptisms in their font.
Yeah.
So.
Okay, Kim C says, if you're sealed to a husband who doesn't want you to be with him in eternity, what is supposed to happen to that woman? Is she still abandoned for all eternity? How is that supposed to work? So there's a lot of people in the AUB who think they know all this doctrine. Me probably being one of them, just talk out of their ass. They really don't know. And so when somebody doesn't know what's going to happen, here's the most common phrase that I hear. I'm glad I don't have to decide that. We're going to let God work that out in the millennium. And so the millennium is going to be the time after the rapture and all the other stuff. And then we have 1,000 years of peace on the planet. And that's when God will sort these types of things out, and women will be able to go and be with whoever they want to be with at that point. And so that kind of defeats the whole thing of what's bound on earth will be bound in heaven, right?
Yeah, but a lot of them, I mean, if they're still believe in the teachings of the AUB, they'll probably get sealed to somebody else within the AUB or a prophet or something like that.
Yeah.
Probably when they die. So they do, I don't know, do they do work for the dead? Sealings for the dead? Probably.
We're looking at Mom.
Yeah.
Just what Elizabeth Roberts said about grabbing rolls of toilet paper and paper towels when Emily went in, and she was so desperate.
Thanks, Sarah.
So I'm trying to catch up to you.
Oh no, you're good. Mom's trying to catch up to the comments too. I love this. Kim C says, yeah, it's a righteous left hook and a righteous uppercut. It's so true. Unfortunately, I hate to laugh at that, but that's sad because it's so true. But yes, my dad had a wife, not his last wife, but the one before that, who only married him. They never had any sort of relationship, nothing. She only got sealed to him because she needed to be able to get into heaven. And so she was sealed to him for that reason. Go ahead.
Yeah, my dad had the wife that we called Grandma. she was sealed to him, and lived with the family, took care of, but she was only sealed to him for that reason too. They never had kids. They never even tried. She was a grandma in our house. So
thank you so much, Sarah Coverdell. Thank you for that super chat. We really appreciate that. And then Kathy Ferron, thank you guys so much. We really appreciate that. Yeah. We have really appreciated all the support everyone's given us. It helps us to buy. Our next thing is we want to buy a better camera, but we've been buying microphones and stuff like that. So we really do appreciate all of that. Elizabeth Roberts says, the nice thing about Cody's BS is there's too much history of him spewing BS and no one other than Robin takes him serious. I literally love to watch these women make fun of him, because especially when they were talking about the beautiful assistant, and it was just hilarious to me, because they're like, yeah, we didn't really, Kirstine's like, really what you did is just made fun of the way he was doing it wrong.
Yeah, Robin's probably the best ventriloquist I know, so.
Somebody says, do you think that they are changing the terms so the church isn't liable in court of law if they acknowledge the abuse? Just one way to kind of subvert accountability? Absolutely, I think that's why they're doing it. Because they don't want to be held liable in court when they know that some man is beating his wife and they didn't do anything to stop it. And so then they just disfellowshipped, or just, which is smirking at now. We're just going to call it how it is, because it's true. These men there is a lot of abuse that happens with the women and the children. And so I think that they do that.
Yeah, they call it unrighteous dominion, and then let the courts handle it. And so they'll, hey, you know what, you're being reprimanded or excommunicated for unrighteous dominion over your family, because they don't want to use legal or liable terms, and then let the courts handle the sentence for the public. So.
Well, and what Tracy says right here, it's not legally a church, it's a corporation. So yeah, I mean, that adds a whole different layer of legality to it. I think they're definitely trying to clean up a bunch of abuses. Only in Theory says, Cody went to visit Christine's girls and the timeline fits when Garrison's funeral was. Was this an appropriate time to have that kind of a confrontation? Yeah, I don't know. That's what's so hard about editing, is because we really just don't know. And I don't want to assume that is probably when that happened. If you haven't watched our recap of the episode, Cory does talk about that, where, it's going to take baby steps, and it's going to take him continuing to do stuff to try to heal the relationship with his kids.
And reaching out to his kids and trying to communicate and heal that relationship without the ventriloquist there, Robin there. So she's probably been the cause of all the divide within the family.
Yeah.
And so for him to try to build up that relationship and work on that, I think it's only a good thing, and it's up to the kids whether they
accept it or
not. And Robin should stay out of it and stay out of.
That was what we appreciated the most, is that Robin was not there to dictate how things went down or how they happened. And so,
even though she wants to put in a sliver or two, it's a confrontation. Well, call it what you will, Robin.
Why can't she just be supportive of Aspen? Why does she have to say it's a confrontation? Just shut up if you can't say anything nice.
She would never speak, so.
Oh my gosh. Somebody says the abuse is horrible. Believing that you deserve it is worse and complicates a lifetime. And that's true. I mean, my ex-husband sexually assaulted me before I was married. My dad made me apologize to him for it, because he had righteous anger, and he had bothered with me. And so I believed that the abuse was my fault. That fundamentally changed who I was for years because of that. Let's see. And I do have a video on that one too. It goes into more detail about that. Go ahead.
Yeah, that's just interesting, because so many times that we talk about us getting our butts beat when we were kids and stuff, it was like, oh no, I deserve that, or I did this, or you know what I mean? That was a punishment. That was a good punishment, because I back-talked, or I did this, or I did that. But then I was like, and then there was a couple times that I didn't deserve to get beat. So, us brothers sitting around discussing when we deserved to get beat and when we didn't. So.
Isn't that sad? Because we did have those conversations in Montana just recently. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of what we talk about on here does trigger a lot of our family members. Mm-hmm. And not every one of our family members watches, and not everyone agrees that we are talking out publicly, but the majority of them do, but it will trigger a lot of their own personal traumas. Yeah. And so we had a lot of conversations in Montana around these subjects, and it was hard. I'm like, how sad is this conversation? Like, I had to stop them. Like, you guys are literally talking about, did we deserve to be beat? Like, did we deserve to be knocked out to the point where we're unconscious? And so it was really sad to see some of the conversations, but there was so much healing that went on too. So it was really beautiful all at the same time. Tragically beautiful. Two things can be true at the same time.
This is where we learned about the Constitution from my dad was we have freedom of speech, and yet when we say something, you can get popped in the face for it. So,
yeah.
It was hypocritical, but it was awesome. To learn what not to do as a parent myself. So.
That is what it taught us, not what not to do. KJ says, I kind of grew up in my Roman Catholic bubble, so I was so shocked to find out all of the other religions out there and priesthood authority preachers, rabbis, pastors, and married. It was mind-blowing to me. Me too, because I felt like I grew up in my polygamist bubble. Mm-hmm. And when I got out there and realized other people, at first I remember thinking, well, they don't have the right authority. What do they think? I was so judgmental about it because I literally just didn't know.
Yeah, and we learned a little bit different because my dad came from a Protestant church when he grew up. And then my mom was part of the Mormon church. We had one of the wives that was Catholic. So every time the Pope passed, like going on now, she watched that to see who the new Pope was, even though she was part of this faith now. And so we did get kind of more education from our small family about all the different religions, just because a lot of the parents came from different religions.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Elizabeth Roberts says, I'm trying to get to all of our members. So thank you. I'm trying to make sure that all of our members get their questions answered. Oh my goodness, your sister's statement on grabbing rolls of toilet paper and paper towels brought me to tears. That was awesome. That was an awesome live, by the way. 10,000 subscribers. Yeah, thank you. My sister's really been through it. She's been through the ringer. She was the first one of us to speak out publicly, and it's been really hard on her, and she's really appreciated all the support. She'll be coming back out and doing more lives with us, for sure. She really appreciates talking to everyone. And Elizabeth says, yes, it is in the DNC too, where more than 2 of you are gathered in my name. Sweet. Yeah, I'm assuming. What are you laughing at?
You can buy a Pope bingo cards.
It's not too late to buy Who's the Next Pope bingo card. That's funny. Oh, and Elizabeth asked, Miss Melanie, can you tell me what video on the abuse that you did? I would love to watch it and send it to my daughters. So if you go to our front page of our YouTube, not now, but when our live is over, then I've categorized all of our videos. So there's podcasts. It's going to be under there, and it's going to say trigger warning on SA, mm-hmm. and it's that video. I think it's about 45 minutes, maybe an hour, where I just kind of go into a lot more detail. But this is when I was first getting started, and so I'm not as. This is why I say I don't believe the sister wives lied. Because I don't feel like I was as forthcoming or as detailed as I could have been, because I was still afraid to share a lot of the details, a lot of the things that I wasn't as confident in sharing as I feel like I am now. So when you watch it, yeah, I'll probably do a follow-up to some of the videos that I made, because now, I didn't feel like I was lying about things or misleading, but I wasn't as confident in talking about it publicly as I am now. And so I could give a lot more detail that I didn't give in those videos.
Kim C and I watch a lot of the same movies. So.
Kim C said, freedom of speech, freedom to shut up.
Shut the hell up.
What movie is that?
Dang it. Kim C, which movie is that? That's
you're going to think
Happy Madison or
Billy Madison?
No. Yeah, it's when he's playing golf.
Okay. Yeah, I don't watch those. You watch those?
I watch those. She doesn't. She thinks that they're dumb.
Yeah.
Thanks, Barbara.
Is Cory wearing his garments today? Nope.
Black ones.
Black ones. Black like his soul is today.
Happy Gilmore. Thank you, Gilsey.
Happy Gilmore, yeah. Thank you so much, Barbara. We really appreciate that super chat. Thank you. Somebody says, I mean, Alice is single right now. Robin's mom, Alice, she's single right now. Yeah, yeah, only in theory says she appreciates it. Thank you so much.
But she didn't get a release from her husband, so she's probably still sealed.
Oh yeah, she's definitely still sealed.
Yeah, if he was died righteous, then she would still be sealed, and she could get remarried, but most of the time it's just for time. So.
Okay, without saying anything, just answer this question with a nod of your head. Is there any rules that would prevent Cody from taking Robin's daughter as a sister wife to Robin? Has this ever happened before?
There's no rules. There's
no rules, but yes, it has happened. And it has happened more frequently than you would realize. Not saying that that's what's going to happen here with Cody and Robin's daughters, but it does happen.
It could happen if there's a lightning bolt and all of that stuff. So.
Yeah. And somebody says, Kim C says, TLC should support you because you have explained so much that has been missing from the show. And what's funny too is that, okay, there's like so much like shit that happens that it just makes me go, oh my gosh, they got to be watching our videos. Like that whole soulmate thing when they went to breakfast or lunch or dinner or whatever for Aurora's baptism. And then she's got to, I only said you were my soulmate once. And then I stopped because I knew it was wrong. And I'm like, you turd, you did not, like you got called out on that. And so that's why you.
Probably by the wives too.
That's why you're backtracking it, is because you got called out on it because it was a crappy thing to do and it was a crappy thing to say. And it shows that you're kind of a crappy person to do that to these women who have been married to this man for way longer than you.
And righteous.
Right.
You
and
keep
so
saying crappy, it's sweet, shy, and righteous.
Yeah.
Whatever.
That one just made me go, oh my gosh, I'm going to totally post my video that I made on soulmates. It was a really crappy, it was a really dark and heavy thing. Evil. I would almost say it was an evil thing to do. And she knew what she was doing and she did it on purpose to gain a hierarchy over the other wives at the beginning of the show. And, you know, I obviously don't know Robin's intent all the time, but I know enough women in polygamy like Robin, and I've watched that happen where they're trying to gain a hierarchy over the other wives, and they do stupid, mean things like that. That's a mean girl thing that she did. And it infuriates me when I watch her try to explain it away at a dinner with Cody like it was no big deal. Oh yeah, I said that once. And then I learned how wrong it was and I never said it again. No, you knew exactly what you were doing when you did it, and it's just crappy.
My sister.
Somebody says I call bullshit. Yeah. Oh, let's see. Oh hell no! I hope that doesn't happen to Robin's daughters. Sad that's common in the AUB. Makes me think of that Green guy, Tom Green. Yeah. Unfortunately, Tom Green married his wife's daughters. Yeah, that one really upset me because I found a TikTok channel with Tom Green, and the mom and the daughter had babies on the same day, and literally the mom was like, she was supposed to. Mel holds nothing back. I totally didn't, because that whole soulmate thing just. But the mom had a baby. The daughter was due first because she was married to Tom Green first, and then the mom married him afterwards. But the mom went into labor first, so the daughter was like, I was supposed to have the oldest child, but she beat me to it. And then the mom's like, yeah, I just had the baby on the bed, then rolled over, and she laid down and had her baby on the bed. What in heaven's names are you people doing and thinking about? Like, sorry, Mom, I love you, but that would never happen. God, that's horrible. Like, talk about the ultimate level of abuse is thinking that in any way, shape, or form is normal. No, it's absolutely not normal, and it's disgusting.
I'll do a disclaimer too. Yeah, Debbie. Hi, Debbie. Good to see you. Is probably right. Cody has adopted her daughters. That's even worse, and I think the law would come after him because he would have adopted them as his children.
Right. Is this the Debbie that you would know growing up? Yeah. Is it? Hi. Okay.
Hi, Deb.
If you are the same Debbie, maybe you can just let us know I don't know, because I've never met you, but I think you would know her.
Yes, I do know her.
Yeah. No, and I think it's absolutely totally wrong, especially if a man I mean, it's wrong on every single level, but if a man raised this girl as a child or as a daughter, that is even a whole different level of just effed upness. It's just completely effed up. So, yeah, the dual head nod, love it. Yeah, that's why I was like, don't say it. Let's just answer the question, because it's unfortunately, and eventually maybe we'll get into some more personalized stories that we know personally that are maybe a little too close to home for us. There are not enough showers to wash off the Tom Green. Amen. He's so beyond disgusting. Let's see, loyal. Yeah, but she brought so much into the family, debt, manipulation, cold sores. Yeah. Cory, what was the name you used in the previous video calling someone who forgets a lie they told and gets called out for it? Oh gosh. It was convenient manipulation or something like that. It was some terminology like that. We'll have to think about that one.
Have to go rewatch it.
Or unless Mom can remember. It was like, yeah, I do remember you saying something. I was like, that's a great term. We should remember that term. The abuse. Oh, we already read that. I'm like 20 minutes behind on comments. I'm sorry. I'm trying to make sure that we get through to at least all of our subscribers too, our members. Oh, Mike, drop on the abuse. Yeah, thanks. Somebody says, I cried watching that video about abuse, Melanie. I can relate so much to that video. 30 years later, I got out. Oh, I really hope that some of our stories can help other people heal through some of the abuse that they might have gone through. I'm sorry that you experienced that too.
Thanks, Kathy.
What are you looking at?
She doesn't always give Cory credit for king curls.
I know.
Yeah.
That was a funny one too. In Mary's newest interview today, she says that they do watch the episodes before they air, and that there are times she refused to let things play out as they wanted them played out. Yeah, that's awesome if she can do that. That would be awesome. Yeah, I'm almost caught up. Cory, what's the term you used when you called the leader of the AUB is lying? Oh my gosh, we use so many like flippant terminologies that you're gonna make us think here. So yeah, keep those on your brain. When the prophet of the church. Oh, is it?
When he lies?
Yeah. Is it nefarious revelation?
Yeah.
Is it the nefarious revelation?
Yeah, the nefarious revelation is when you're having, revelation that doesn't come directly from the prophet. I don't know. I'll honestly have to remember a lot of go back and watch some of the stuff that I used.
Somebody does ask the question, does the AUB follow the Book of Mormon? The Book of Mormon is the fundamental principle of the whole AUB. They consider themselves Mormon. They follow Mormonism. Everything about the church is Mormon based in theology, Mormon theology, yes.
It's not only the Book of Mormon, it's a lot of the earliest teachings of the prophets of the LDS Church, that they have old documents, they have old books that have been changed or updated by the LDS Church, and the AUB keeps the older versions of it.
Right.
All the older versions of everything, the covenants, all those things.
Journal of Discourses. The AUB keeps a lot of the originals. So I tell my mom all the time, stop giving away those books. Let me have them. But she doesn't listen. She just gives them away anyways. But there's a couple of books that I really wanted to get, and she'd already given them away. I'm like, Mom, just give those to me. Because they're out of print. Nobody prints them anymore because the LDS Church just doesn't want that information out there. Let's see. As much as I like to believe that Cody and Robin have some new insight, I feel like it is more of a PR stunt. I 100% think it's a redemption tour. They're on a redemption tour. They're definitely trying to heal the image, the public image that they have. What are you saying?
You're all great. Now I'm going to be a trad wife and make my hubby's lunch. That is awesome.
I don't think there's anything wrong with being a trad wife. I think it's gotten a bad rap. I enjoy being, I worked full time too, but I enjoy doing nice things for each other. I think it's just I think it's gotten kind of more of a...
Yeah, it's back and forth.
It's a give and take, yeah. Oh, good. I'm glad you found that video. Elizabeth said she found that video. Yeah. I'm trying to catch up on the comments here. Cody is adopted. Yeah, her daughters. Oh, hell no. I hope that doesn't happen to Robin's daughter. Sad that that's common in the AUB. Oh, I already read that one. Mm-hmm. You are right about them, a redemption tour. I absolutely think that's what they're trying to do at this point. And I don't know that if they even realize what they say and how bad it comes across publicly. I think sometimes I'm like, do you listen to yourself? Do you like rehearse that in the mirror before you say that out loud? Like, what do you do? Righteous amnesia. That's a great one too. Yeah. That's a great terminology. We're gonna have to start writing some of our terminologies down, because for us, we just flippantly say them. Let's see. Are you seeing any questions you're wanting to answer? I'm trying to get.
I'm just catching up. Well, I'm far ahead of you.
I know you're very. I'm always trying to get all of the members, and Cory's always like just going through all the comments. 100% Robin on soulmates. She did it on purpose. It was blatant, and her explaining it was absolutely ridiculous and gross. I feel like she should have just let it go and not ever brought it back up again, because it made her look a million times worse trying to explain it away, in my opinion.
Who is this?
Robin, when she tries to explain away the soulmate thing at the dinner. I just think that is...
The kids are in there teasing them about, oh, you got to marry your soulmate. So what she says
stupid is
in
that?
her home,
our parents are so cute.
What she's talking about soulmate all the time in her home. She probably just doesn't, or was like, okay, I got in trouble for saying it on TV, so I'm not going to say it on TV again, because it was a slap to the other 3 wives to say that, so, or to put her in first position in eternity. So but she's telling her kids about it. Everybody around her knows it. She's just not saying it on TV, because that would be wrong. So
I know. I mean, she says it right out of the gate. Like, she's literally 10 seconds into the whole entire series, and she's like, I love Cody, he's my soulmate. And the minute I saw that, I was like, excuse me, what? So yeah. Tia Flame says, I love you guys. I always feel like we're sitting in your living room chatting. Mel, your no filter comments about Cody's antics crack me up. Love the commentary always. Keep up your good work. Thanks. I know.
Robin goes through soulmates a lot. So next soulmate. So she's setting it up so that he is kind of ornery and been really, really mean to her. So she'll find another soulmate soon.
Right. So, as soon as she bankrupts Cody. Yeah. Somebody says, Cody seems to learn psychology terms and then uses them inappropriately on the show like he's genuine. I know. I absolutely agree. I'm like, does this guy even know what he's talking about? It's some of the stuff he says. I'm like, no, buddy, that's not how that doesn't sound right. Spooky Micah says, does the AB leadership feel embarrassment since they do not own any of the church history sites? No, not necessarily. I don't think so. They own actually, they have a lot. They don't want to take over the Mormon church. That's not their goal or what they believe is their responsibility. They believe their responsibility is to keep the pure priesthood alive on earth. That's what they believe their responsibility is, if I'm correct, right? It's not about ownership of artifacts or anything or any of the histories. It's about keeping the fullness of the priesthood the way Joseph Smith restored it to the planet, alive and well. That's what they believe their responsibility is. It's the church's responsibility to do everything else, and then eventually the two will come back together and become whole again. We literally prayed as we were children for the temple doors to be open to the righteous saints who wanted to live the fullness of the gospel. We had those prayers as children because that's what the AUB believes their responsibility is. It's not to, have the artifacts or have the memorabilia or anything like that. The priesthood is the most important part of the doctrine, and they believe that it's their responsibility to keep that. Hopefully that makes sense. What are you smirking at now? Cory's over here laughing. Somebody needs to take away his big word calendar of the day. Oh my gosh, that's hilarious. Is that what you were laughing at?
Plethora is the word of the day. I have a plethora of wives.
Plethora, if no one knows what that word means. Cory saw it off of a fish called Wanda, right? Is that what the show was? What show was it that you saw that on?
That's
Corey's like, that's a
Three
fantastic
amigos.
word. Oh, you're right. Three amigos. God. It's so funny because Corey gets a word like that in a dumb show like that, but he loves that show, and my kids love that show. Somebody says, finally caught y'all's live. I listen to your videos almost every night because your voices are so soothing. Thank you. That's nice. I appreciate that. Yeah, and yeah, Jay Patel says, Mel is like, I'm your child. Give me your books, woman. She's over here shaking her head, covering her head like, I know, you've told me a million times not to give that stuff away, and she does it anyways. Instead of a cookbook, start a slang Mormon thesaurus. That's hilarious. We should do that. Mm-hmm. Oh, Sarah, I hope you get better. Sarah says she had her gallbladder removed. Hopefully you start feeling better. I think you two should do the tell-alls. Cody and Robin would shit their pants. Oh my gosh, I would have so much fun with that. I think it'd be good.
Instead of an urban dictionary, a plig dictionary.
A plig thesaurus. Yeah. Explain all of our slang and all of our funny words.
Like Robin meant to say meal ticket instead of soulmate.
Oh, you said what? Robin said Cody's a meal ticket instead of a soulmate?
Yeah.
Isn't that?
Lainey L14 said that.
Oh, my mom thinks you're funny, Lainey L14, that she loves your comment. Let's see. Happy house, happy spouse. Let's see. Well, Cory sounds like you need to be the sole income provider so Mel can be a happy housewife grandma. He does very well. There was a couple of years that I actually just traveled the country with our daughter, and Cory just took care of everything. She was, we would go on weekends and we would do, she was a photographer, and I would go with her and run her equipment in the background while she did all of her photos. And time I could never get back from her. She's the one who moved to Florida, and it was one of the best 2 years. Well, it was about 2 and a half, 2 years that we did that, and it was about 3 weekends a month. And Cory just stayed at home and made sure that everything was here good, and I could follow her around the country and help her out and just hang out with her before she left and moved to Florida. It was literally one of the greatest times of my life. Somebody says they're failing their redemption tour. We don't buy what they're trying to sell. Yeah, Cody does. I really hate the salesman tactic in Cody. He even says that to his own kids. He's like, I tell my kids, sell me on it. Yeah, I hate that he has such a salesman mentality. It just feels dirty, gross, and yucky. Mel and Cory rock. Please hit the like button, subscribe, and don't forget to click the bell so you never miss when they post. Yeah, Thank you, Nicole. Guys. We really appreciate that. There was something else about the episode that I wanted to talk about, and I forgot what it was. I went right into answering questions and kind of forgot what it was. Christine being legally married does not mean she doesn't need a release because she doesn't believe in the AUB anymore. Honestly, you only, I mean, if she just walked away, I really believe you only... I understand why Mary and Janelle feel that they need it, because it was something that they looked at as a sacred thing for the last 30 years of their life. I understand why they want it. And I also understand the flip side of Christine saying, it doesn't matter to me, I'm out of here, let me out. And so I really can understand and respect both viewpoints.
Well, she's completely eliminated her belief system. So she's just like, I'm done. I don't need to go get permission. I did this, I lived it, I'm moving on, and I don't need to go. She doesn't have a belief system in the AUB anymore either. And so why go ask somebody that you don't even believe what they say or do for the dissolvement of a ceremony that you don't no longer believe in. So she just packed her bags and left. So was like, nope, I'm done. I don't need to get permission from Cody. I don't need to get permission from the AUB leadership. I don't get permission from anybody. I'm my own person, and I'm going to live my own life.
So. And honestly, it kind of surprised me with Christine.
From the royal family.
That's why I was kind of surprised with Christine. I could see Janelle doing that or something like that, but
completely let it
go. But Christine, I was a little bit surprised by that.
But her mom left.
What?
But her mom left.
Yeah, and when her mom left too, I'm sure her mom had a lot of, good on her for influencing Christine the way that she did. Let's see. I was really angered when Robin said that it sounded like a confrontation between Cody and Aspen. She really doesn't want Cody connecting with his other children. You know, the ones that aren't a part of the core family. I was really disappointed in that too. It felt like a sliver, which we've talked about slivers here before.
I felt like she was saying, "Oh, was she mean to you, Cody? Poor Cody. You doing okay, buddy?" So yeah, she was just multiple doing the sliver, but also petting his ego. So
yeah,
making sure he was okay because his big mean kids are being mean to him.
Yeah. I think that was really sad when she did that too.
Slivers called them bitchy barbs. I don't like that.
Oh, my mom thought that one was funny. The gun accessory business that Cody had with his friend is no longer in business. The business is closed and you can no longer order. Yeah, that's not surprising to me at all.
Is that Sister Wife's Closet?
No, you can still order on Sister Wife's Closet. You're just going to get screwed. You just won't get your product. Is it common that wives leave and return like Janelle did years ago? It's very common. Mom, I'm going to ask you probably an embarrassing question. How many times did you leave Dad in the last 50 years?
Dozens.
Dozens of times. It's very common.
Week to 2 weeks, one time for 6 months.
Yeah, she left, weeks at a time and then 2 weeks. Problem is that these men don't really notice because they already have a bunch of other wives to go to, so they don't really notice that you left.
Yeah. Mel's probably right. We all grew up in the same house, and so not necessarily leaving. And I mean, there was some wives that left Dad, but yeah. Now that I look back at it, probably. It's not like my mom could leave my dad, but he just wasn't allowed in her section of the house for months. Yeah. And so that was her way of leaving. You don't get to come into this section of the house anymore. And so then he would just go and stay at the wives that liked him at that moment in time. So yeah.
Or the favorite.
Or the favorite.
Mom chimes in on the favorite wife. She has some feelings about the favorite wife too. I totally agree. But yeah, it is very true that a lot of women do leave. It's a hard lifestyle. It's not easy. And most of them do come back though, because it is ultimately what they believe. I should probably let you know I submitted you to TLC for the reunion interviews. Nice, oh, that's funny. That would be awesome. Not that I'm important enough to get TLC a phone call, but I agree you would be ideal for the reunions. Oh, thank you. Thanks, Elizabeth. That's funny. Can you imagine Robin on the couch and her fake a lot of tears while you're asking her questions? Oh my. Do you notice that she doesn't cry anymore now? Because she doesn't need to. She already got everything that she wanted and everything that, like, this last 2 episodes, I don't think she cried at all.
I'd hand you some tissues, but nothing comes out, so I'm just going to take those back right here.
Let's see. Robin just signed the filing to close Sister Wives Closet with Arizona's Secretary of State. Super unethical. Yeah, that felt really, really shady to me as too. That's funny. At the tell-all, I wish that they would ask Robin why she's entitled to a quarter when she contributed so little financially. Yeah, I just think it's funny that the entitlement of these, I mean, this one's going to make my mom mad, but here's this husband who has these women in his life for 20, 30 years, and then this new one comes along and feels like she's entitled to everything that these women built for, Janelle saying, I held my bras together with diaper pins in order, Robin wasn't there for those lean years. My dad has wives that his one legal wife was not there for the first 25 years of the marriage, and now she's the legal wife and legally entitled to everything. And it's bullshit that these men allow this kind of stuff to happen and they don't protect these originals. So out of my dad's original wife number 2, my mom, and wife number 3 legally own nothing. But now wife number 5 and wife number 6, they legally own stuff. How is that fair? How is that, wife number 2 and 3 are in the trenches and the ditches and trying to make things happen, and they're the ones holding bras together with diaper pins and doing all this other bullshit that these men put them through. And then wife number 5 and 6 come in and they're legally entitled to the estate. It makes 0 sense. So there you go. Sorry, Mom. There's your little shout out online for the day. But I love this. Cory just became a lot cooler. The Three Amigos is a favorite in our house. Oh my gosh. My little guy,
Yep.
we have the funniest video of him when he turned like 6. And we went to a Mexican restaurant and they put the sombrero on his head and he did the whole Three Amigos dance.
It looked like the Three Amigos. He's like, this is a cool hat.
He was like, this is amazing. Yeah, he did that whole...
Yeah.
He did that whole dance. The last episode really got me with the shopping queen comment, and I'm not rushing Robin burnt me. Yeah. Thanks, Katie. That's Cory's little sister. Katie made that comment. That one, it literally took us all day because we were watching with my mom too. And we started it, and it took us, almost 2 hours to get through the first 45 minutes because we had to keep pausing it and just, and then we'd start watching it again, and then pause it, and oh my gosh, and then I had meetings to go to, so I had to, that one lit us up pretty bad. Let's see. Oh, yeah, your little sister says, oh, my mom made us pack up and go to grandma's house all the time. You probably don't even remember that. That your other mother, Katie, your little sister Katie, says that your mom made them pack up and go live at grandma's house when she'd leave your dad.
Oh. That's cool.
You didn't even know.
We just thought you guys were on vacation.
Oh my gosh. That's hilarious.
Vacation. That's awesome.
That's funny. That can be one of the difficulties when you all live in the same house. How do you hide that shit from each other? But apparently you did it well.
Well, no, because then we went however long they were gone, a couple months without really good food. So her mom was one of the best cooks.
Her mom was the best cook.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's funny.
We starved when your mom left. Didn't hang out with Dad very much. So that's awesome.
Yeah. So in Cory's family, how it worked is wives would cook weeks, and they would cook for the whole week, and then like another wife would have dish weeks.
Yeah,
so they would do all the dishes.
Mm-hmm.
And so Katie's mom apparently was the best cook.
Yeah, loved her food.
Yeah. So she'd leave and you guys would all
starve.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's
raid the peaches out of the pantry, so we'd eat peaches and starve.
Yeah. Somebody wants to know, what is the prayer that Cody did for the baptism, and where can you find that prayer? I think you can find it in the Doctrine and Covenants. Yeah.
So it basically says, having been commissioned of Jesus Christ, I baptize you, because you've got to say who you are and how you got your authority and priesthood, and you got it from Jesus Christ. Now I baptize you in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. Amen. And then dunk them.
Then you dunk them.
Because you got to have the right authority, and so most people don't use that, designate what authority they have and where they got it from. So.
Well, and someone made a comment on our video, on our recap that we did on this show, and they were saying that they felt it was so disrespectful of Robin to say, how do you feel now that you've been dunked? And that's because I just thought I'd address that one really quick, because that's the lack of respect that they feel for another church's, what's the word? It just went right out of my brain.
Yes.
Their, what? Beliefs,
or their
rituals. Rituals, thank you, or their dogmatic.
It was dunked or sprinkled, but we do it the right way, where blah 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 blah. So she's put it down.
And so it's just a different. She's putting down the actual act of the baptism, because she's referring to, because for other religions it's very sacred and they consider it a actual. Baptism.
Within the AUB, she would have been very respectful of what, and it was a righteous covenant that she was making, and she was doing it the right way. But because it's another church, she's not going to be. She basically is disrespecting their version of the ritual. So
right. And so that I just wanted to address that, because someone had made that comment on our last video, and it was definitely a disrespect. What are you reading?
Super disrespectful. What does she think Aurora is, a Dunkin' Donut? That's awesome.
That's funny. Yeah, and it is. It's really. It was just kind of a meant to be a joke, but it came off. For me, it came off very disrespectful, and just really kind of flippant and disrespectful to him. Let's see.
Heck yeah. When Katie and those guys would go, she had all the daughters. We were we were the brothers outside making the messes and getting the wood and all that stuff. Those guys kept the house clean.
Cory's mom had the majority of the boys, and
6
Katie's
boys.
mom had the majority of the girls. And so Katie's mom, she had to teach the girls. Same in my family. My mom had the majority girls. My mom has 7 girls and 4 boys. And then the other mom had the majority of the boys. So would she have 9 boys and 1 girl? 9 boys and 1 girl. And my mom had 7 girls and 4 boys. So yeah, it's weird how sometimes that happens. Let's see. Can you have your dad come in during the Robin and Cody interview? Oh my gosh, I would laugh so hard. That would be so funny.
So Robin, when you said this about Christine, was that in violation of Rule 17? Have all the rules up for them, everybody to see.
That's
they would
hilarious.
not like us interviewing them at all. So.
Yeah, it would not be very fun. Somebody says our local LDS church is putting on 7 brides for 7 brothers. I remember you mentioned it once in one of the lives. We actually went.
We just watched it.
Yeah,
again.
we just watched it again because we got so many comments on it, and it is one of our favorite shows. I mean, I get the Stockholm syndrome part of it, but it was awesome. The music in it was.
We didn't know what that was when we were growing up. Our daughter educated us what Stockholm syndrome was, but we grew up in Stockholm syndrome, so.
Yeah. And Nicole says that would explain why these men in this religion didn't sleep on the couch. Monogamous marriages, it doesn't happen. The one pissed, it has nowhere else to go. My mom said, you made your bed, now go lay in it. Yep. And that's true. And this one, in this religion, they really didn't. Now, I was taught going to young women's or girls' class, that if your husband has an issue with another wife, it's your responsibility. Don't welcome him into your home or into your bedroom. You turn him away and tell him to go work that out with that other wife. And you will hear Robin say this on one of the episodes. Now, what she says and what she does are very seldom seem to be in alignment. But she told Cody's like, I'm not going to go sleep on her couch. And she's like, yes, you need to go sleep on her couch until you work this out. Whether she actually turned him away when he came to her house is still.
She's not going to let him freeze to death in a car.
But yeah.
In the cold.
And so I was taught that as a young girl, that we were supposed to do that we were supposed to turn them away if a man came to your bedroom or your house while he was in hot water with another wife. Somebody says, Tea Party says, we love you, Mom. We're so dang proud of you. Can't imagine how difficult it is. Glad you're on the mend and recovering. Let's keep her let her keep being the favorite wife and you be the favorite YouTube mom.
Yeah.
Oh, my mom is like the mom my mom would be the Christine in the family, where all the kids naturally gravitate to my mom. And some of them really struggled when they found out my mom left my dad. There was a lot of strong emotions from children that were not my mom's biological children. And they still continue to come to her and visit her and come and see her because she is basically the Christine in our family that everybody knew they could come to, don't you think?
Well, I like that.
She's like, well, I'd like to think so. But yeah, everybody all the children genuinely felt loved and cared for and nurtured from my mom. And then there's some kids that don't even want to have anything to do with their moms, and so they refer to my mom as mom because they definitely don't want to have anything to do with their mom. And one of them is their mom is the favorite. So somebody wants to know, Cory, did your mom like Robin's mom? A head nod is an acceptable. Oh, really? She didn't? I don't remember. I guess we did talk about that a little bit in Montana, just barely.
How would I put it? Robin's second mom before her mom left. So her bio dad's second wife, mom and her were friends. But yeah, no, Alice was not her favorite.
That's funny.
Alice was not a lot of people's favorite. So.
Well,
I'm sure somebody loves Alice out there. And Robin.
I don't know. I don't know her at all. I didn't know her growing up, but
You and her were talking at that class.
well, that's because she introduced herself to me because she knew who my dad was. That's how I met her. She's the one who came up and introduced herself to me. Like, do you know who I am? And I'm like, I have no idea who you are. And so then she wanted me and my mom to know who she was. And so that's why she introduced herself to us. I didn't know her. I had no clue who she was. And then she tells us, oh, I'm Robin Brown's mom from Sister Wives. And I was like, I don't know if I'd brag about that, but okay, nice to meet you. And so that's how I met her.
So you're who she learned all this shit from, huh?
Oh my gosh, you're so bad. So, okay, let's see. Let me get to it. What one question would you ask Cody and Robin if you could do a tell-all? How do you sleep at night? That'd probably be the biggest question I'd ask him. How do you honestly sleep at night? How do you live with yourself? How? And Cody would be like, just fine, thank you. Very nicely in my $2 million mansion, I would sleep just fine. My head goes down on the nice, soft, fluffy pillow. Let's see, you got to think about that one, huh? That's a really good question.
Well, I would be asking, hey, who was the tryst with?
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, who's the tryst with, and why did you feel like it wasn't important to let the other two wives who supposedly, or you were going to trust, what made you think that you weren't going to let them know that kind of stuff? And it isn't that against your belief system to hold something like that back from somebody that you're sealing yourself to for time and all eternity.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
those are some of the questions I'd ask. But
I think those are great questions. I would totally. I'm curious about that. Somebody says, oh shoot, was Alice the third wife when married to the bio dad? No,
she was the first.
She was the first wife.
First and only wife for a long while.
A long
and then
time.
When he got his second wife, she got a release from him for that wonderful word abandonment, and then.
Oh, Alice got a release from him.
Yeah.
But his second wife, I don't know. Is the second wife still married to him?
No,
I don't know.
But yeah, Alice got a release from Robert and on abandonment, and then went and married Paul. So
it's so funny too, because we'll go to Montana, and because Robert Mark, who is Robin's bio dad, Robert Mark and Cory's dad worked together and had a business together. And it's just funny to hear the kids talk about him up there. And they're not even kids. I mean, gosh, we're all in our 50s now. So it's not like we're kids, but we refer to each other as kids because we're the kids of the parents. But it's interesting to hear them all talk about it and make fun of it. It cracks me up. So let's see. Saturday's Warrior isn't a good movie, but it's a nostalgic, guilty pleasure for me. So is Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. I know. I remember when Saturday's Warrior came out. What do you
had
reading?
all the songs in your head.
I know, forever. Those songs. What were you reading that you were saying?
Oh, did Paul adopt Robin legally? I don't think so.
I don't think so.
He'd have to marry Alice legally to do that. And I guess she hadn't convinced, she hadn't got, let's just say this, Paul's first wife was not like Mary. She didn't have her wrapped around her little finger. So yeah, they weren't going to get divorced so that she could marry Paul legally. And I could be wrong. They might have done that. Might have been a part of the playbook, but
yeah,
I'm sure Alice would have loved to do that. But
yeah, I don't know if they were.
They legally adopted them. Yeah, so probably gave him a blessing. A name and a blessing, nothing legal, but a name and a blessing to give them the name of Sullivan. So.
Oh yeah, so you saw Cody do that with Robin's kids after he adopted them. You see Cody give them a blessing, and then they give them the name Brown in the blessing. So basically, what he's doing is taking the name Jessup for all time and all eternity, and he's giving the name Brown for all eternity.
And he's doing that by the authority vested in him from Jesus Christ, which
he believes
supersedes any legal things here on earth. So
yeah. So that, I'm sure Robin's
name, blessing, and a couple nice picnic tables. Yep.
I'm sure Robin's stepdad Paul Sullivan did that for those kids too.
Yeah, I'm sure they did, and then they had kids together. Paul and Alice did.
Yeah, Paul and Alice, they think they had 3 kids together. So I think she had 4 with Robert Mark and then 3 with Paul Sullivan, but I don't know that for sure. Somebody says
we don't have their genealogy chart.
Yeah. Somebody says, have you or will you do videos on such things you learned in Young Women, such as turning your husband away to go fix his issues with another wife? Yeah, I could definitely do videos on that. I should write that down. And any kind of topics, that's always great because I'm happy to make videos on anything like that. I hadn't even thought about that, but that would be a great one to do videos on. Things we learned in Young Women's. I'm going to write it down.
I wasn't allowed to go to Young Women's. So
you tried, though. You wore that dress that once.
I did.
So
one of the we'd go over to the church house. My dad wanted us to go over and walk our sisters back home from the church house after Young Women's, and so make sure that no boys weren't hanging around talking to boys, so we'd go over and do it. And
escort
our sisters back home, and one of the boss ladies there basically said that we couldn't hang around the church house because there were other ladies there, and so one of the mothers needed to come because only women in dress or only people in dresses could come to the church house on that. So
girls' class nights. Only people in dresses could come to the church on girls' class nights.
So my brother and I dressed up in dresses and went and picked up our sisters.
I told you that story, right? The pictures are hilarious. Yeah,
Corey. She changed the rules after that. She's like, no, okay, no men can come pick up.
Yeah, Cory and his just younger brother, they dressed up in dresses and went and escorted their sisters back home because they lived in a walking community. Everybody, you could walk to church, you walked back. So yeah, the pictures.
She was trying
hilarious.
to be bossy. She didn't clarify that. She said only people in dresses could come, so we showed up in a dress, and then she clarified. Yeah.
This is why they all got kicked out because
you two can't come over here anymore.
They're always trying to bend the rules. Oh, Cory, you should have been like, I'm Dave's favorite son-in-law. Let him know what you're really like. Let's see. Why would Cody put Robin's mom on their new house title? Oh gosh, I have no idea. I haven't gotten into any of that type of parts of the sister wives stuff just because, we don't really.
Yeah.
We try to get more into the whys and the hows of why polygamy happens, and we don't necessarily get in so much into that kind of stuff.
Probably because he had to.
So. Somebody says they looked up the mortgage for a $2 million home, $13,000 a month. That's almost twice the amount that I make in a month. Yeah, that's probably more than most people make in a month, to be honest. And that's just disgusting. I think that's very tragic, especially because that's got to be hard on these women, Janelle and Mary. Here's another thing I really wanted to address. This is what I was looking at earlier. I feel like it's really hard because these women know what they did. Now, in retrospect, they look back and there's a lot of shame and a lot of guilt. Like, how could I have let that happen? How could I have done this? I mean, I feel like my mom's going through it too. And it's a sadness because you genuinely, truly want to believe in this with your whole heart and your whole faith. And you want to be known as, are you one of the true faithful ones? Or do you have, do you falter in your faith? That is what's really used against so many people in this religion. And so it breaks my heart to watch Mary and Janelle and even Christine. I'm sure Christine kicks her own butt sometimes, although she was able to sell her own home. But that is one of the things that is really hard, and they don't always need, and I'm not so good about this with my mom. Sorry, Mom. I'm not always so good about saying, I told you so, because they already know. They don't need to be told over and over and over again that they screwed up, that they trusted too deeply, because then you don't want to break somebody to the point where they don't ever trust again. They don't ever have confidence or belief in someone again. And so it really hurt my heart to watch Christine or Janelle and Mary have this conversation in the last episode at the beginning, because that's what they're saying. How could we have been so dumb? How could we have been so naive? And that's why, is because they trust and they have faith in their husband and their priesthood authority and their priesthood leaders. And so,
and Cody was a liar and a deceptor.
Yep. My mom says Cody's a liar and a deceiver. And that's the problem, is that these women want to believe so deeply and so indoctrinatedly, unfortunately. And so they don't need to be kicked down knowing that they could have done things different. I say this more for myself.
Well, and they should learn from Robin, because, now if her mom's on the deed, if there was ever a separation, she'd at least get 2/3 of Cody's estate now.
Robin would?
Yeah. Robin and her
Well,
mom,
depending on what she's on title, like, it depends on how she's holding title with Cody and Robin. She could be holding title as she only owns a small percentage of the property. She could be holding title as she owns as much of the property as they. There's so many different ways that they can be on title together. And of course, in real estate, this is what we do. We advise people on how to hold title so that they go in expecting and knowing what it is that they own. If I had assisted these women on this property, I would never have allowed them to do it the way that they would have done it. Well, I mean, obviously I can't stop them if that's what they want to do, but I would have strongly advised them to do things differently than that they've done. And this is only because somebody helped me when I was 19 and bought my first house. My ex-husband and I bought my first house. Someone stepped out and helped me. And so I feel like every time I advise any, especially women in this religion, I'm always advising them on how to hold title, so that's the most important thing, so that you have ownership in something.
If somebody says she's not on title.
Yes, I don't know. I don't know if she's on title or not. I have not even looked into that at all. Let's see. Cory and Mel, has humor been a part of your healing path out of the AUB and polygamy influences in your life? I think you two are just the best. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I feel like there's things that we can make fun of, and then there's some things that we're like, oh, that really just sucks still. This fool over here has no problem making fun of everything.
I make fun of everything, fortunately.
Sometimes I'm like, you're going to go to hell. I don't know how you're going to straight up go to hell.
It'd be a great place. Warm. Grew up in Montana where it was cold all the time. Hell's going to be warm. So
Mom's over here shaking her head like, yeah. Those two have no respect. So no, we definitely have used a lot of humor to sometimes when we tell our stories, they seem so egregious. And so it's like, maybe for us, because we've healed and worked through so much of the trauma, it feels like just another story or just another life experience. But then when other people receive that, they're like, what in the hell are you talking? It's like, oh, it's a big thing. So sometimes when we try to relay those stories, a little bit of humor will soften some of that for the people who are hearing the stories, if that makes sense. So yeah, somebody says it's like kicking somebody when they're already down. Yeah, I agree with you. That's why I'm working on having more grace for my mom. Sorry, Mom, and for other women. Let's see. Laughter does heal. Yeah, I really agree with that. Yeah, somebody says $13,000 a month mortgage. Are they insane? If they make $40,000 a month from the show, and there are 20 episodes in a year, Robin and Cody make about $156,000 a year from the show. Yeah. That's 50% of their income. Yeah.
It's an investment.
Well, we know how Cody likes to do his investments.
Gotta get 3 more worker wives.
Right. So, go ahead.
In his one big house now. Now he's got the big house down to 1 wife. Now he can get 3 more worker wives to come in and help make that payment.
Live in the basement?
Yeah, live in the basement and help make that payment for him.
Alice is now Cody's basement wife. Oh my gosh, please don't start that rumor, but that's funny. She could be Cody's basement wife. Kim C says Aurora should be allowed to follow her Christian faith without having to appease Cody and Robin. And I fully agree. You know, that is one thing that it's taken my dad some time to get there, but this is one of the things that he does, and I think he has learned to do a lot better, is that he had to come to the conclusion where I just want my children to believe in Christ. And so now he's been able to take a step back. It took him a dozen children to get there, but I feel like he's, you know, now he's trying to be supportive of just wanting his children to believe in Christ. So he gets, you know, he comes to the baptisms, he comes to the blessings, he does that type of stuff, and he doesn't try to interject his perspective on it. He just lets them have their moment and takes a step back. So one of the pictures that I submitted in my interview with Cults to Consciousness is the last photo that my parents had taken of all of their children, and it was taken on the stage at a Christian church, and all of us were there. It was for a funeral for a family member, and that was really the last picture that we had with all of your kids in it, huh? And I mean, my dad was there. He was willing to be a part of everything, and so I do have to give my dad some credit for that, because that's a big place for somebody to get to, especially a cult leader to get to.
So I have a question. Ranking wise, if you got a basement wife, you got
here we go. Here we go.
What's a barndominium wife?
That's Mary.
I know, but is a barndominium wife lower than the basement wife or higher?
I would think higher than a basement wife.
She's got her own place.
She's got her own place. She can do whatever she wants to in that own place.
Exactly. So yeah, barndominium wife, basement wife.
All these sorts of wives. What about the trailer court?
Wife.
Yeah, dollhouse wife, trailer court wife. Yeah. I mean, who is there? There's so many of them. Sweet Angel Cory doesn't make fun of anyone. Oh, he mostly makes fun of himself, I won't lie. He's very good at that. Let's see. Oh, the irony of Alice getting a release based on abandonment from her first husband. Yeah. Fast forward 20 years and her daughter has her husband abandon his 3 wives. Talk about things coming full circle. Great observation, Barbara.
Yes, awesome.
So true. Thank you for pointing that out, because so many of these types of things we'll look over, we'll miss them, but yeah, talk about the irony of that. Let's see. Melanie, when Cody speaks lies, we ask you if it's true, and you say, oh, he isn't, and you say, oh, he isn't the worst either. He's not the worst. That's the sad part, is that you guys see how egregious his behavior is, and he's not one of the worst ones.
He was set up as one of the best. One of the best of the best. That's why, yes, he should be going and doing the show. He'll make us look so good. And definitely not the worst.
No.
So.
No, and that's the sad part. There's men out there who are way worse than Cody Brown. And would you agree with that, Mom?
Yeah.
People think
she says yes.
Alice.
Yeah. Let's see. I want to make sure. Have to go. This has been so educational, and I enjoyed every moment. Thank you for your insights and hosting us. Thank you, Only in Theory, and thank you for being a member of our channel. We really appreciate that. Let's see. Alice probably gave money to the new house. She definitely does live there. Yeah, I don't know. I haven't followed up any of that.
I think somebody said that people think Alice is on title because Robin's name is
Robin Alice Brown.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so that could definitely be it. Let's see. One of my brothers tried to convince my mom to buy the family home from her with an unofficial 50-year mortgage. I had to point out to her that it would become the problem of the grandchildren. Yeah, not a lot of people think that all the way through. Let's see.
Yep.
I'm trying to get to, or is Alice the garage wife? I think that's funny. Woohoo, alive. Welcome. See, let's see. Maybe Alice is the barn dominium, right? That's funny. How mortgage is generally 30 years. The show is not going to be on for 30 years. They have no other income, so I can see the house being taken back by the banker sold. What will happen is they'll probably just refinance it at some point. They'll probably pull out a second mortgage, a HELOC, or something to that effect, and then live off that money too. if they don't have enough money to make payments. You see that a lot.
Mortgage.
Yeah, or they'll get to the point where Cody's getting old enough, he can do a reverse mortgage soon. And so, yeah, he could do something. There's so many different financing options once you get into a property that, yeah. Somebody says, is this picture too precious to show us? I'd love to see it, though. Do you feel like it's too precious to show people, Mom?
Which one?
It was that one at the funeral.
Yeah, Lane's funeral.
Uh-huh, yeah. It was the last photo that you had all of your kids in, and Dad. I don't think it is. I think it's a good photo. I wanted to show something that had all of my mom's children, and that's hard to do because half of us don't talk to the other half of us, and so, but we all got together for this funeral, and I'm just kidding about. I mean, we could definitely do a family picture, I guess, if we needed to, but I shouldn't have even opened that can of worms. Yeah, it was probably what, 8 years ago that we did this picture.
Like each other.
We did one at the family reunion.
We get together and do pictures all the time.
Yeah, but I'm not showing that one. That one was horrible, Mom. We were camping. We all looked like total shit.
Whatever, Melanie. The girls were all doing their makeup.
No, it was so bad. I looked at that. No, we used to do a family reunion once a year, and we would get big family pictures. And I actually did include that picture too, which will show my dad and most of his wives and grandchildren in this photo. There's probably 100, 200 people in that photo, probably. And that's not everyone. It's just whoever could make it to the reunion that year. So that picture will be in there as well.
What do we have to do to see the picture of Cory in a dress?
Oh my gosh, I would love to show that photo.
Got a kilt too. I got pictures of.
I've got Cory in his kilt. Yeah.
Yeah.
But those dress pictures, I don't know. I'll have to get those from your mom, or do you have them here at the house? I don't remember where those are. We're gonna have to find them. Let's see.
I love wearing dress. Run through the breeze up your skirt. Makes you feel like you're running around naked. So.
Let's see. Kim says, I hope Alice moves in and refuses to budge for each and every one of Cody's eternities. Oh my gosh, got my mom laughing on that one. That one's hilarious. Let's see. Mel's mom hugs you. I hope you're seeing all these comments.
I am. Tell them all.
Yeah, she says thank you guys so much. Oh,
please do a live during your next family reunion.
Yep. Let's see. Yeah, will we do a live? We don't do the family reunions anymore, especially now that my dad has his high levels of authority. He doesn't always have time to do that kind of stuff, and plus a lot of the family, there's such a division in my family now because of this type of stuff.
Pink glitter soap.
Somebody says, happy birthday, Mom. Happy to hear you're chatting. Just remember, when you watch the show, many of the fans are also yelling at the TV. You just keep your blood pressure down. Oh, she's answering a phone call too, so she's just stepped out. Let's see. I'm going to see what I can do to get the picture of Cory in his dress. I think it's hilarious.
Can a man marry his wife's mother? Yes. And it happens.
Didn't your dad do that?
Yeah.
Can I say that? Yeah. Cory's dad did that.
Yep. That happened.
Yeah. So yeah, it can. It can, and it does, and it has. Somebody says, oh. So yeah, it does happen. But now, the circumstances under Cory's dad marrying the mom are what? You want to say that or no? You don't have to.
No, it was actually her stepmother. She was married to and so she was the grandma. And so as part of the condition to marry the wife, my dad's fourth wife, the fifth wife was the grandmother because she was helping raise the kids, and she came in and they, as far as I know, I wasn't too
keen on the intimacy.
In the intimate part, but she was just a grandmother type figure within our house, and they never had kids and stuff like that. He just married her to take care of her
in her elderly years.
Elderly years, yeah.
Yeah. So not all of it is nefarious.
It could be though. So, but yeah.
Yeah.
But yes, there has been a mother.
And that's why Cory has
daughter.
other mothers that he called grandma.
Yeah.
Is because of that. So, and that is true. A lot of times there's just not an intimate relationship there. It's just more she needs to be cared for and taken care. I don't understand why the marriage part has to happen. That makes no sense to me. But
yeah.
Yeah.
Because she's going to be taken care of in eternity.
She needed a way to get into eternity too. That damn eternity! It always comes with conditions.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's always got a So let's see. Now that Cory's admitted that his mom married a daughter and a mother, let's see what comments we get.
My dad, not my mom.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah. Let's see.
What was my favorite meal or food when you were a child? Now that I'm an adult, I make it to this day. Tater tot casserole.
Well, we make tater tot casserole all the time for our kids.
Sloppy Joes.
Yep.
Those are my two favorite. I've refined them and made them perfect.
Yeah, my kids always say, they'll come home and they'll be like, Mom, can you just make some plig food? Or Dad, can you just make some plig food? And we'll just, casseroles are not plig food. They're like, everyone makes casseroles.
They're huge family
They're
food.
huge family meals, and that's what we would do. And then we would make enough, we'll send it home with our kids. And let's see, at least Robin wouldn't think Cody wouldn't be intimate. Oh, yeah. Somebody says, Alice is a social climber. She aims for Mel's dad. That's so bad.
That's so awesome.
I don't want that to happen. Somebody says, Tom Green enters the chat by marrying mother-daughter. Yeah, It's very true. So yeah, Cory's dad did do that. He's wondered if he should bring that up on one of our lives.
Yeah.
Oh, somebody says, guys, we need to get Mel and Cory on Mormon stories. Come on, drop a message to John. Let's do it. That's funny. I've heard that. People have recommended and suggested that to us before. I haven't even looked into it, to be totally honest. I wouldn't be opposed to doing it at all. I would 100% do it.
It's probably called something different. We called it tater tot casserole, just because you'd cut up taters or tater casserole. And then when I started making it with just a bag of frozen tater tots.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when we were kids, it was more potatoes, or they did a mashed potato version underneath of it, called it shepherd's pie. So.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah, those were all the ones. Cory, recipe, please. Mel too.
What?
Recipe.
Oh yeah. That people call us all the time and ask us for that recipe.
I'll do a video on how I make it. It's pretty easy, super easy. So.
Oh yeah. Let's see. Oh shoot. Yeah. Somebody says just take care of your mother-in-law. Yeah, I agree. Somebody says that happened on Big Love, right? It did. Yeah, they talk about it on Big Love because it does happen and it has happened. It seems like anyone can marry anyone. Cody will probably just want to marry himself. Well, he does think pretty highly of himself. So, let's see. Nikki and her mom. Oh gosh. Yeah. Okay, that was part of Big Love. Debbie says my mom and Katie's mom are sisters. Yeah. So I wasn't sure if you were the same Debbie because I've never met you, but yes. Let's see.
Where's she at?
Right here.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. Cory laughs, but then Alice would be his mother-in-law. Oh, can you imagine?
Nope.
Mormon Stories is very interesting. He's been covering the Vallow Day Bill stuff. We have not even, I know so many of you guys have asked us to watch that. We just have not had a chance to watch it.
Debbie, I hope I can tell you're okay with it. Debbie and I grew up together. She played the piano amazing. I'm always listening to Man from Snowy River because she used to play it.
Oh, that's okay. You've told me that story.
Piano player.
Yeah.
And yeah, we grew up together in the same house, so hopefully that's cool.
Yeah.
Yep, she was one of my cool big sisters. So.
Not. You guys aren't biologically related, right? No. You're just
no,
not just, but.
I claim her as the 39 that we grew up together with. So.
Okay, that's
thanks.
Yeah. See, I don't even know all this.
Yeah,
I'm
she's
learning
part
too.
of the 39.
Okay.
So.
What kind of breakfast do big polygamous families have? Oatmeal. Mullet. Like what? Yeah.
Sticks to your bones and gives you a good day's hard day of work. So yep.
Yep.
Oatmeal, one of our favorites.
Yeah.
So I still eat it today.
Yeah,
So-
and tater tot casserole, yeah, there's a million ways to make it. I know people are asking.
Mine's the best.
Somebody says, I can't imagine the laundry in a polygamous house. You have no idea. It is unreal and it's out of control. When my dad moved us in on my 16th birthday, he moved my mom in with another wife. So there were 17 children and 3 adults in the house. And my mom had her washer and dryer, and my other mom had her washer, and they were going 24/7 all the time. So yeah, and in Montana they had clotheslines, so did you guys have an actual washer, or did you have to wash your clothes by hand?
We had both when we were younger. When I was younger, we had one of those old washing machines that you'd sit and wash it in a bin and then run it through the top, and it plugged in. It was out in the backyard.
Because I think your mom still has that on the back porch.
She does.
In fact, when we were just
But
up there, I
then
saw that.
We updated and became very, very up to date.
Modern.
Got a washing. Well, we had a washing machine and a dryer downstairs and one upstairs on the main floor, and then we had clotheslines that we hung everything out to dry.
Which they still do.
Which we
Corey's
still do,
brother lives up there, and he still does.
Yeah.
You still see that. Someone says English muffin pizzas are gold for big families. That sounds amazing. We should try that. I don't think we've ever done that.
That's rich people food. But yeah, those would be good. Is alcoholism a problem in the polygamous community?
It's secretive.
I don't know.
Most people don't know that that's what's happening because you're not supposed to drink alcohol.
Yeah.
Would you say it's a problem?
In polygamous communities, I wouldn't know about the communities. It was a problem in our household. So,
in your family?
Yeah.
I'm like, I don't know if he's going to admit to that one quite yet. Yeah.
So.
Yep. I think there's a lot of closet alcoholics that they don't talk about.
What they call it, partaking of the sacrament a lot. So. Dipping to the sacramental wine a lot. So.
Yeah. I want to answer this one. The Daybell Vallow evidence is hard to hear, but I do wonder where the LDS stops and their crazy beliefs begin. Yeah, that's why I think people had asked us to watch it, is to see that.
What is it?
It's the Lori Daybell, where she married that guy, and then they killed her 2 kids. We never watched it. That was when we were going through our divorce, and so we didn't get into that because we were too busy dealing with our own trauma when we got divorced for 2 years. That's when all that came out. So that's why we didn't follow it that much, is because we were going through our own situation and trying to figure out what we were going to do. So we didn't watch it. Let's see. Brady says, you were both incredibly cool. Thank you. Let's see. Yay. Yeah, I can see John loving Miss Mel and Sir Cory. Thank you.
I like the Sir Cory.
The Sir Cory. That's so funny.
I'm gonna call myself Sir Cory from now on.
I kind of like
awesome.
Baron. I like the word Baron more than
I like
Sir.
Sir.
Nefarious laundry, somebody says. Yeah. I think you have to reach out and apply for Mormon stories, and I just haven't done that yet. We probably will. I think we were trying to get more comfortable with even talking about this publicly, and so that's one of the reasons we haven't done it. Yeah, somebody says, I grew up Mormon. We ate a lot of cream of wheat for breakfast. We did. We didn't have or we would do a lot of pancakes because pancakes were super cheap to make. But the problem is we didn't always have syrup, and so, or butter.
Syrup?
Yeah. What did I say?
Syrup.
It's syrup.
Yeah.
Syrup. It's a Utah accent.
Syrup.
So yeah, let's see. Would that deed have protected the OG wives from having to sell their properties when Cody wanted to move so often? It would have. Yeah. Well, my understanding is they didn't really own a home until they got into Lehi, but I don't know. But yeah, the deed would have protected them from having to sell any homes. They would all have to agree on selling the homes. Let's see. Oatmeal is the curse of my childhood breakfast. Yeah, I loved it. I still actually really love it. Great question. I was wondering that too. Makes me think of Melanie's mom leaving after 50 years. Sorry, I might have missed that question. Oh, yes. Would the deed? Yes. So would the deed have protected the OG three wives from having to sell their property when Cody wanted to move so often? Yes, it would have. And yes, if my mom was on the deed, it would protect her now. But my dad is absolutely 100% okay sending my mom out into the rest of her life penniless. And my dad is 100% okay with that, unfortunately. And I just think it's disgusting of him. Let's see.
Turned her over to the buffetings of Satan.
Yeah. I mean, and
penniless.
I'm sad that my dad thinks that, and then he preaches and teaches in the AUB to let your women have something for an estate. To notice how I just said that, let your women have something for their estate, and then he doesn't even practice that in his own family with his own wives. It's gross.
Righteous women, though.
Oh, well, that's true. Righteous women. My mom can now be considered unrighteous since she's trying to leave. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he bullies. Yeah, there's bullying a lot. The original three wives talk about the bullying, and they just exhausted. He exhausts them till they're just like, do what you want type thing. I'm done arguing what you and Robin want. So
yeah, and that's what's sad too. And you even hear Janelle say that on this last episode. He's just going to bully us until we just want to walk away, and that's what happens. Unfortunately, most of these women just get bullied and bullied and bullied until it's like, let me just
ignored.
Yeah, or ignored.
Bullied or ignored.
Yep.
So you're not doing what I think you should be doing, so I'm just going to ignore you for a couple months. So
right.
And they're going, what the? Talk to us like a normal human being, but nope.
Yeah, it makes me sick. Let's see.
They're a bunch of spoiled brats. A lot of polygamy.
Yeah.
They haven't had to sit down and communicate and talk to somebody and work out the troubles that you're going through.
Yeah.
You just throw your tantrum, take your toys, and go over to the favorite wife's house. So.
Amen. So true. Is drug addiction big in polygamy? I think if it is, it's not talked about at all. It's one of those things that is so hush-hushed. The thing is, in polygamy, is there's a lot of don't ever talk about. If nobody knows your secrets, then you're still a good person.
Yeah.
And not to say that if you're a drug addict, you're not a good person. That's not what I'm saying. But everything is so secretive, and we don't tell or talk about any of this type of stuff. So do I think that it could be a problem? Yes. Do we know about it being a problem? No, because people are so, like, they'll take that stuff to their grave and won't talk about it. So.
Yeah, we were growing up in the community that we grew up in, I was unaware of what drugs were even.
Yeah.
And
well, alcohol too. I mean, you
yeah.
didn't even know your dad was drunk
I didn't
a
know
good portion of the
was
time.
Drinking. Yeah, because that was, he wasn't. They didn't come out and say that. We were taught as little kids that you weren't supposed to drink alcohol. You're supposed to stay away from it. So they'd give you blackberry brandy if you were sick or getting a cough or something like that. But yeah, I didn't know what drugs were, and so, but there were some homes that I went of friends growing up in the community, and I'm like, these guys must be saging their house. It's got this weird smell to it. As I grew up and became an adult, I'm like, oh, they were smoking weed all the time.
Oh, that's funny.
So I just thought they saged their house all the time. But no, it was wacky tobacco sage that they were saging. And so they were always happy too. So
yeah. People want to know, is there, well, Brady says, Mel, that's horrid. She had his children and left penniless. Pretty much. What? And he is absolutely okay with that. But thank you, Kiana. So Kiana is on here moderating for us, and she is our niece. Well, she's my sister's daughter. And then she just mentioned Holding Out Help is a great organization. And then Katie is also our other moderator on here, and she is Cory's little sister. So that's kind of who we have on here moderating. So thank you, girls. I really appreciate it because you guys are catching some questions. I want to make sure. And so Katie, we did take some pictures with Katie while we were in Montana because she was up there for the funeral. And so I need to get some of those just posted because it'll take us forever to edit some of these videos that we took. So I want to get those just posted. Yeah, thank you for all your answers and great sense of humor. Please, prayers for your mom and health and strength each day. Thank you so much.
She did some videos too of my other brothers talking about getting disciplined. So that was pretty funny. That was awesome.
Oh my gosh, Cory showed those to everybody. He thinks they're so funny.
They're awesome.
Let's see.
The nut roll story.
Yeah.
So.
The Daybell trial will absolutely take you down a very dark Mormon rabbit hole. Yeah, that's probably one of the reasons I haven't looked at it yet either, because there's just been so much on our plate lately with my mom and then his family. Switching it up to Barron, Cory.
Barron.
Dictionary. If any of you guys have ever watched Love on the Spectrum, they talk about it. I want to be a Baron, not a sir. And we love that. What?
It's also called German breakfast, cream of wheat with a beaten egg. That might
have to try
good.
that.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah, let's see. Dictionary definition: important or powerful person in a specified business or industry. That's all you, Cory, for a baron. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's funny.
Sometimes we'd do. Our mothers would make what was called German pancakes or a Dutch boy. That's from my dad. My dad's family is all German, so. Those were good too. So you guys got pancakes, we got German pancakes. So, yeah. Or Dutch boys.
Well, that's because you guys had chickens and had all the eggs. Yeah, we couldn't afford eggs. You guys were rich.
No, we ate well, and so, but yeah, then we'd up in Montana they have huckleberries that grow everywhere wild. So we'd go collect huckleberries. We'd have huckleberry German pancakes. They were amazing. But those were special times. Those were a birthday. You get
I know.
Those.
We love going to Montana. We get fed so well every time we go up there. We stayed with Cory's younger brother and his wife, and oh my gosh, she fed us like kings while we were up there. I love it.
He wasn't that good at being sneaky. After a while,
Cory's little sister said Dad was very good at being sneaky about being drunk, is what they're referring to. And go ahead now. Sorry.
No, he was just. It was very obvious. That,
yeah. All that was going on. Well, now that you're
older,
teenager, as a kid you didn't know, but as a
little
teenager,
kid I didn't, but as a teenager we figured it out pretty quickly.
Right. So we're going to talk for about 10 more minutes. And also I really wanted to say thank you guys all so much for all the support you guys have given our channel and shared our stuff. The way that our channel has been growing has really shocked us, and we are just humbled that you guys, that our stories even are getting a platform to be able to be told and talked about. So we really do appreciate that too. And so I just, definitely wanted to put that out there, and for all the love and support, especially in the last couple of months where, Cory's sister passed, and then everything that's been going on with my mom. We really do appreciate all of the extra prayers and support, because man, I feel like we started getting our channel off the ground, and then life just kind of kicked us in the teeth for the last couple of weeks. And so we're still trying to be grandparents, be parents, run our regular businesses, and then do this kind of stuff. And we love it, and it's wonderful. But we really do appreciate the support.
Debbie says that German pancakes are the best. Debbie used to make really good, what were they called? Blonde brownies or butterscotch brownies. But then they broke some eggs shells in it, and so they were being so nice. Here, you guys want some butterscotch brownies? We're like, yeah, thanks, Deb. And they were crunchy. So had eggshells in them.
Yeah. That's funny. I remember you telling me that story. I really do. Yeah.
So I'm very leery of butterscotch brownies now. So.
Oh, thank you so much, China Clay. Thank you for that super chat. We really appreciate that. She says you all are the best. We really appreciate it, because that's what I was telling Cory. I'm like, I love focusing on building our channel and talking about these kind of things, and I feel like they're so important to get them out there. And so I was really, really excited to do the Cults for Consciousness talk with Shalise. She is amazing, and definitely asked me to come back for a few more. Cory didn't come on that one, but he probably will in the future. We'll do a couple of things like that together. And we just feel really fortunate that people want to hear our stories, and that we can speak out there. And honestly, the people that have come to us and let us know their stories of how much they've healed over some things that we've shared, it's been very humbling for us too. So,
Yep.
yeah. What you laughing at?
Don't forget
Debbie
when they
says,
mixed up the sugar and the salt. Yeah. Some of our sisters were learning how to cook, and so yeah.
and then you
It was a
can't waste
dangerous
that,
time.
so you still
Yeah.
have to probably eat it, right? Because
Yeah.
they mix sugar and salt, and then you still had to eat the
You're gonna
salty
starve.
pudding.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd starve
good.
if you didn't. Yeah. Let's see. Did you all take your kids to places you never could go as a polygamist kid? I can't imagine there was any Disney trips as a kid. I actually did go to Disney.
They were the rich, possibly profit material dad, so they got to go to Disneyland.
No,
So
my dad and my uncle started a rental business where they would rent out RVs, and they would rent out. It was kind of an Uber for, like, not Uber, but like place where you could rent RVs, snowmobiles, that kind of stuff. And my dad had to go to California to pick up an RV, so he actually put, I want to say there was 22 of us in an RV that went to California on this trip when Disneyland turned 25. And so my other mother and all of her kids, my other mother didn't come, but she sent her kids with us. And my mom, all her kids, my other mother's mother, so my grandmother and her children, kids were sleeping on the floor, in the hallway, everything. And then they had to pick up another RV while we were out there. And so, yeah, we got to go, but man, it was hard because we could not afford anything in the park. And all these people had all these yummy snacks, and I'd say, can I have a snack? And nope, we can't afford that. It's too expensive. So, yeah, it was a fun trip. I was in the 5th grade, however old you are in the 5th grade. That's how old I was. So yeah, but we do take our kids to, we've been very much Disneyland parents. And in fact, we're going again because our granddaughters get to go in September. Our little granddaughter is turning 6, so we're going for her birthday in September. So we did try to do a lot of things for our kids that we didn't get to do growing up. Cory never got to leave the ranch.
we went to AUB land, so.
Oh my God.
Yeah, or
You'd come to
land.
Utah and go to AUB land?
Yeah, that was our big trip away from, we never got happiest place on earth. We got more, this was hell. This is what hell could be. You don't want to go back here, do you? And we're like, no. So.
Yeah, Cory's family, they did trips to Nauvoo and learning. Yeah. And then, of course,
that was our school thing, but yeah, we went back to Nauvoo.
And then, of course, Katie, the younger, our moderator on here, they went to Cody's ranch in Wyoming, and that's the vacations they probably got to take. So she would go and do those.
Ours were work vacations where we would go and learn how to work and earn a trade, get a trade and stuff like that. Ours were all work related vacations. So.
Yeah, we didn't get very many vacations like that. That was probably one of the only ones. And then at one point, my dad did take us all on, we thought we were rich. We got to go on a boat on a lake for the weekend. And I was 12 or something like that when that happened. But yeah, not very often. My grandparents owned a cabin at a local lake about 4 hours away. And so we would try to go down there a lot too. But no water. I mean, an outhouse, like it was rough camping. Let's see, we really appreciate you two as well. You're opening our eyes to the part of life that I had not known the truth about. So thank you, and God bless you and your family. I pray God will heal all your hearts. Thank you.
Our Nauvoo trip was like Rumspringa. Is that what it is? For the Amish, Rumspringa, where they only had 4 people watching like 16 kids or 17 kids as we went back east to Nauvoo, so we got to learn how to smoke and do all sorts of heathen stuff as kids.
Mom joined us again.
Yeah.
She's dressed and ready.
Yeah.
She's going to a birthday dinner for her birthday.
Smoked cigarettes on that trip, got green. I was so sick after smoking those cigarettes, so yeah, it was fun. Debbie went on that trip with us too, so.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Somebody says, I've been so curious what your reaction is to Cody saying if he had been there, the release wouldn't have happened on this episode. I think he's full of shit. I think the release still would have happened. It just, he would have gotten to throw his 2 cents in. What were you going to say?
He didn't want to risk that it wasn't going to happen.
He made that clear.
Yeah, he didn't want to risk if I say something and he goes, "You're right, Cody, you guys are stuck for all eternity." He didn't want to risk that, so
Yeah.
he just wants to justify it now that I didn't abandon her. So that's all he's saying is, no, I like the outcome of the release. I just didn't like that I had to look less than Cody. So
Right. Yeah. So no, I still think the release would have happened eventually. I think it just probably would have taken a little bit more time, maybe, because he would have had his side heard, she would have had her side heard, and then things would have happened. But I think the release would have absolutely still happened. He's done too much on TV to not warrant a release at that point. Can Cody rebind himself to the wives after they get a release? I've seen some videos of people binding the dead to them. Wondering if you and the bind the living without them knowing. Yes, that does happen. I have heard of that. I have seen that. I think the LDS Church still does that. Do you know?
Blessings for the dead or the
sealings.
They have people sealed. Yeah.
Yeah, they have children sealed to parents, parents sealed to children.
Well, and without their knowledge, they've passed on. So if they didn't want it, they'd show up and say, "Hey, yeah, don't seal me." So since they don't show up and say don't seal me,
they get to do whatever they want.
Well, if you find a single wife, a single woman in your genealogy,
yeah,
then you can have her sealed to you, and that's how some men get their plural
that's
wives.
incest.
Mom.
No, that's not what I said.
My mom is saying if you're doing your genealogy and you find a single woman in your genealogy,
way back,
way back genealogy line, then you can have her sealed to someone in your family. So the church still does do that, yes. But I don't know if the AUB. Corey's over here struggling with that one.
It doesn't work. Don't get sealed to anybody within your marriage-wise, right?
Yeah, you just get sealed to them. You're not reproducing with them. It's not incest if you're not having any reproduction. I don't know.
I'm lost.
I don't know. Somebody says the Mormon Church definitely seals the dead. Supposedly the deceased person has a choice in the matter, but it's still disgusting. So yeah, they definitely, yeah. So yeah, I do follow Jenny from Life Takes Two.
If you don't want this to happen, say something now. Nothing? All right. You're sealed.
Yeah. No, that's funny. You need to write a book. We are looking into that. Well, people have told me that for 20 years to write a book, and we are now looking into that. We just haven't done that. Teresa says that was the right to survivorship deed I had asked about. You missed the first part. Yeah, there is rights of survivorship where one person dies, the other people get it. There's tenants in common. Like there's a dozen different ways you can hold the deed on a property. Full rights of survivorship typically will keep the property out of probate if somebody has full rights of survivorship. That just means they have full rights to the property when that person dies or the other person dies.
Corey, did you smoke any of the devil's lettuce? I didn't on purpose. I probably got a second-hand high, and that's where all the nefarious revelations that I got came from. So, yeah, it was pretty thick in there. They were saging the house. So, yeah, I'm sure as a kid I got second-hand highs from going over and visiting friends. So.
Yeah, and Elizabeth says, really excited to watch the video Cults of Consciousness. Do you know when that video will be posted? I don't know. I think it's coming out in the next couple weeks. We filmed it last week, I believe. My days and weeks are blending, but yeah, I think it'll be coming out in the next couple of weeks. I'm excited to watch it too. I talk about things in there I have not talked about publicly yet. Yeah. I mean, there's so much we haven't talked about publicly yet. But this one, I do go into a little bit more detail about one of my dad's last wives that was my best friend. I do go into a little bit more detail, explain my feelings on how that happened. Okay, we are at our last 10 minutes. Do you have any other questions you want to ask?
No, just.
No?
Well, let me read.
Let's see. Well, somebody says no, binding the dead people to Ruby Frank, and then that's what they were doing. So was wondering if the bind living without them knowing. I believe that they have to be passed. They have to be deceased in order for them to agree to do that. The church to do it. They don't do it to living people, under my understanding. Because if you're living, you're still at choice. We just take away all your rights when you're dead. let's see, it felt like he thought he was there. Men would be talking and Mary wouldn't get the release, or at least it would be a class. Okay, so yeah, so they're saying Cody says if he went to the bishop's court, it's called a bishop's court type thing. If you went to that, he says Mary wouldn't have gotten the release, and the comment is, it felt like he thought that there would be men would be talking and Mary wouldn't get the release, or at least that wouldn't be classified as abandonment.
Yeah.
That is very true. Thank you for bringing that up. That is very true. That's why it took me almost 4 years to get my release, because it's like, sweetheart, the men are talking, sit down, be quiet, and we'll get back to you when we get back to you. And I was very dismissed. My feelings were very dismissed. Everything that was going on with me was very dismissed. And that is very true, especially in this patriarchal system where the men are talking, the women need to just sit down. Thank you for pointing that out, because it's very, yeah.
Somebody asked, did Cody and Robin they got, it depends on what you're talking about. If it was legally married, they probably just went down to the courthouse. But when they got spiritually married, it would have been through the AUB's endowment house. So
yeah. Yeah, I love Kim C. She goes, I'm saying something right now. Don't sue me after I go boots up. I feel like that too. And that's really caused a lot of emotional turmoil for some of the living relatives. You know, I didn't realize like how impactful it would have been for one of my brother-in-laws. And I was telling him when my sister passed, one of my other sisters went and did some temple work for her. And I was telling my brother-in-law about this. And he lost his mind. He was so upset about it because he knew that my sister did not want that and did not want to have anything to do with that. And my other sister didn't care. She just went ahead and did her work anyways. And he was pretty upset about that. So I do feel like it's a violation to some degree to the people who are still living. They feel violated by that. What are the ages of your dad's wives and how old is your dad? So my dad is 73.
He'll be 73.
He'll be 73 this year. And, oh gosh, my mom's going to be 71 tomorrow. And then the next wife, I don't know, she's probably 68, 69.
7 years younger than me or 5 years younger than me.
Okay, so she might be 65. And then the next one is going to be 63, I think. And then there's one who's 69. And then his last wife, these are the living wives. Everyone else is either passed or divorced. And so then the last one is 54. She's Cory's age. And that one was the one that was my best friend growing up. So that was fun.
She was best friends with my brother too.
She's 53. So she's 53 years old. Yeah, she was married to Cory's brother. And then they got divorced, and now she's married to my dad. So, and I do go into that on the Cults to Consciousness interview that we talk about. So,
so it's not totally unfeasible for Robin to marry your dad.
Oh, Mom! Oh my gosh! My mom's over here chiming in with the peanut gallery. She's like, so it's not totally unfeasible for Robin to marry your dad. She just wants my dad to be, she wants that kind of torment for my dad. So
the last one was, she's older than my oldest son. This one could be, she's older than my youngest daughter.
Oh my gosh. My mom just wants to see my dad tortured, so she wants somebody says you're hilarious. Yeah. So it would not be unfeasible to that. So did your dad have kids with your friend? No, he did not. They only just recently married 2 years ago. And so she's past her child, she's past having children. She did still have children at home. Stop it. So the look on Cory's face speaks volumes. Cory, could she technically still have children? Possibly. Will they probably have children? I don't think so. But
the Lord works in mysterious ways.
Mom, what are you doing? Oh,
pretty sure I had my last miscarriage when I was 52. So.
Yeah, well, and there's a lot. I mean, my little sister, my mom was 46 when she had her. So, yeah. I appreciate both of you explaining to those of us who didn't grow up in your faith, so I have a better understanding of the AUB and polygamy. Thank God you have healed to be able to share your stories. Yeah, it's it's been quite the process to get to this
Australia.
point of being able to share our experiences. So yeah, that'd be funny, Mom, and it would be karma. That's what she's over there. She's got an evil laugh going on, going, "Yep, it would be karma. He would deserve it." Let's see. She would financially break Dad in 2 seconds.
Was your dad already the leader when you were trying to get a release?
No. My dad only became the leader of the AUB 3 years ago, and so he was one of the apostles. So in the Mormon Church, there's a prophet and then 12 apostles. My dad was made one of those 12 apostles when I was 19. So he's always been in the leadership, and then he was already like in the higher up of the leadership before he became an apostle. So he's always really been in the leadership, but then he became the prophet 3 years ago. So nope. When I got my release, it was Owen Allred who was the prophet back then. And Owen Allred's the one who gave me my release to my ex-husband. And that was back in 2000. I got that release back in 2000. The look on Cory's face, I know. You guys always make so many comments about Cory's. I got to start paying more attention to
Yeah.
Cory's face, apparently.
Robin might be
a surrogate if needed.
Sure.
I don't know if you guys can hear my mom laughing, but she's throwing back a chuckle over here. She thinks that's funny.
She's a saint like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think he had to say something about the releases because Robin was upset about the release and how it reflects on her? Absolutely. I think it's all about it's all about Cody and Robin's egos. Oh.
Is Cory still close to his parents? I'm close to three of the mothers that are still alive. All the rest of my parents are gone.
Cory always says he's half an orphan now. So I'm like, Cory.
And I still got 3 mothers.
So he still has 3 mothers who are living. Everyone else has passed on. So no, what is the salary?
The young wives.
Yeah, all the young wives Cory's dad married. What is the salary of the leader? I don't believe that they take a salary, do they?
No, not to my knowledge.
I'm sure they're taken care of though, but I don't know that they.
Their gas expenses and meal expenses are met if they're out on the road, like going to Montana or going to Mexico.
Yeah, if he's traveling from community to community, all of those expenses are paid for. But if he's just his daily life, I don't think he gets any sort of salary.
Which doesn't make sense when the missionaries have to, they have to pay for everything.
Right. I agree. Yeah, if you're a missionary for the LDS Church, your family pays for everything. Somebody says, is Allred Christine's father or another relative? So Rulon Allred was Christine's grandfather. He's the one who started the AUB, and then Owen is his brother. So
Uncle
Owen was just
Owen.
Yeah. Cory called him Uncle Owen, but that sounds kind of creepy, like Uncle Paul, and then like Robin was Uncle Paul, and then he was her dad.
Yeah.
Her daddy uncle. But yeah. Somebody says, what happens if the man you're still to dies and you remarry? Who are you still to? That's always a debatable question. Everyone debates that one all the time. Some people, if the man was righteous when he died, that woman is still sealed to him. Go for it.
An upgrade or a downgrade. So if you marry somebody as a second husband that's an upgrade for the first husband, then you probably want to get sealed to that prophet.
My mom's over here agreeing with you.
He's right.
If it's a downgrade, you stay with the original. That was a higher rank. So
yeah.
You can't take his wife and children away from him if he's a good man.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, and so there's so many debates on that one. And then if she has any children with the new husband and the deceased husband was righteous, then the new husband's children would belong to the deceased husband in the afterlife too. So there's like such a complicated web of, and really a lot of it's just how you were taught. And in the AUB, we've said it before, the rules change depending on who you are, depending on your last name, and that's one of the rules that can change.
Have any Robin type wives ever fallen out of favor with their Codys and gotten their karma? Yes, in fact, the actual Robin type got divorced from her first husband, and he passed her on to the Cody type. So
who?
Robin.
Oh, Robin.
Yeah.
Oh, because Robin got
the
divorced.
original husband got rid of that
That's
headache
hilarious.
and passed it right on.
So yeah, Preston got rid of Robin, and she got her karma with Cody. That's what Cory. I wasn't following that. I'm like, who are you talking about?
Yeah.
That's hilarious. Yeah. So have you seen any of those karmic situations? We're gonna have to go over those, and we'll give you some stories.
Yeah, the one you were talking about, and
yeah,
she went on. He asked for a release to get. Yeah. Asked for a release to get because she was causing so much hell and headache within his family, and she went on to create the same behavior in the next family she went into.
It happens a lot, and I've been trying to gather stories from some people that I know that have been polygamous wives for a long time, and asked people if I can tell their stories. And I've gotten permission to tell a few, so we'll do some of those too on some videos, because they are like mind-bending that these women suffer through some of these things. But yeah, I will definitely. Somebody says your life stories are fascinating. Mel, your mom should also write a book. She can dedicate it to her sister wives. Why don't you? You should really do that, Mom. You just got a whole new notebook. I think it would be hilarious. I would love to watch her do that. Let's see. Does your dad have a full-time job? Not anymore. He's retired now for the last. He's the prophet. He's fixing the world. He's got a lot of work to do daily, but he doesn't work. He retired from his business that he owned my whole life.
When he's not making the puppet master happy.
What? Yeah. See, in our family we have a puppet master as well, and so my mom just said when he's not, his full-time job has been making his puppet master wife happy. So when he's not working on making her happy, then he's a prophet of a cult. So don't let Cody Brown.
Lord.
Yeah, don't let Cody Brown fool you. This is absolutely a cult. When he said that, oh, it's not a cult. It's easy to get into, or it's hard to get into, easy to get out. I'm like, you've lost your damn mind. Oh, it's absolutely a cult. So Robin's oldest 3 kids still belong to her first husband. No, because he was not considered righteous enough. That's why I think that's another reason I think they demonized him so much on TV.
They weren't married or sealed within, so there was nothing there, time and all eternity. So that was definitely Cody was the upgrade. So
yeah, so those kids will now belong to Cody, not to her first husband.
Yeah.
So, and somebody says, how does one keep up with all the rules from the AUB if they always keep changing? I've been a Christian for 43 years and I can't keep up with the church's rules. Yeah.
Well, the rules are all written down. It's just depending on who the prophet is, there's a group that you follow. So it's like, okay, we're switching to rule book B. And so everybody grabs rule book B and starts updating the rules for rule book B. And then the new prophet comes in. It's like, we're going back to rule book A. And yeah. Or then you get a prophet that's like, I'm rewriting rule book Z here. We'll have it ready to go about. So
that's why we say the AUB makes up the rules as they go along. It depends on who the prophet is at the time. Oh,
updating the manuals. So
yeah, no. Did you get a chance to talk to Robin's ex when you were in Pinestill? Did he give any updates? No, we did not talk. We didn't really.
Yeah,
we went.
It was mostly my family.
Yeah, it was very family oriented while we were up there because it was for a funeral. So no, we didn't really talk to anybody outside of the family, did we? Unless they came to the funeral, then we talked to them. Yeah. And so if they came to the funeral, then we did. But no, if we didn't, we did drive by the house where they live, but we didn't. We took some video of some of the houses. But yeah, somebody says it's all poppycock. I agree with you, Marcy, 100%.
Okay, this one's for Sherlyn.
Oh gosh. Okay, Mom.
Oh, well, I guess it's yours too. Is your dad's is Dave's puppet master wife his last wife prior to your best friend?
Who asked that question?
I know.
How do you know such things?
Oh.
Yes, no. There's 2.
No, because the ticket wife was in between them.
Well, yeah. There's 2 puppet master wives, but there's one who's dominantly.
There's a legal one, and then there's the spiritual one.
There we go.
And the spiritual one has the most pull.
Yes, what my mom just said. If you can't hear, she said there's the legal wife who's the legal, like, puppet master, and then there's the spiritual wife who's the spiritual puppet master. You got 2 of them going on. My dad is just in all sorts of hell lately.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's fun. He what?
He's effed.
Got
Yeah,
2
my mom said he's
puppet
effed.
masters.
We can't see that. We can't say that word on here. I mean, I'm sure we can. But have you guys seen the show Seeking Sister Wives and a new show about polyamory? We won't watch the polyamory one because I just have no interest in that. But we did watch Seeking Sister Wives because we knew some of the people on there. We knew the Aldridges growing up. Well, I grew up with some of his wives. And well, you did too. You grew up with the one from Montana, from Pinedale, because Sharice was from Montana.
Yeah.
So Jeff Aldridge, and then we're friends with Jeff's first wife. She's amazing, and she's divorced him and left him already. But yes, we grew up with Vanessa, and Vanessa, Jeff Aldridge's wife, Vanessa, is Mitch's sister from Aspen and Mitch, and so I grew up with her. But yeah, I always say this, we're gonna quit in 10 minutes, and then 30 minutes later we're still talking.
Well, these guys have some great questions, so.
Let's see. Scientology would reprint books because of its grammatical error and then force them to rebuy it. Oh my gosh, I can see that. Mel, you've told us about your best friend marrying your dad. I've told you some of the things, but not all of the things. And so, yeah, we talk more about that in the Cults to Consciousness. Let's see. My suggestion would love to have Cory write the new unedited rule book.
I'll put the humor in there.
That would be bad. Which puppet wife is the youngest one that is the favorite? That would be the spiritual wife. So she is the youngest. That would be wife number 5. And she is not the youngest wife anymore. He just married the youngest wife. She was the youngest wife until he just got married again. But she is definitely the favorite. She's the one that pulls most of the strings.
What's polyamory?
The polyamory movie, TLC just is going to start bringing it out. It's basically 2 couples that swing. Stop. Oh my gosh. No inside jokes. You can't talk about that on
She
here.
could bring some of her family members on to
to
be experts in that area.
I might have some
But
family members that don't believe in polygamy anymore, but they absolutely believe in polyamory, or they believe in, the terminology for it in Utah is swingers. There's a whole lot of swingers in Utah. So I have a lot of siblings who are very much against polygamy, but they're all about the swinging, and they don't even care. So
Yeah.
no shame in their game, and that's what they do. So yeah, they what?
It's soft polygamy. We probably could invite them on to kind of, then you guys could ask all those questions, how that works. So we don't know how that works. So,
is there a maximum amount of wives that a man can have in the AUB? No, not at all.
In eternity?
I mean, yeah. Cory's dad did your dad only have 9, or did he have more that were sealed to him? He just didn't live with them.
He only had 9.
Okay.
That I know of, yeah.
Yeah, so.
Not for lack of trying, but yeah. So, only got 9 of them through the endowment house, so.
And my dad has 8 that I'm aware of. He could be sealed to more that I'm just not aware of anymore because we just haven't kept up on that. And my mom wouldn't know that either because she's an apostate at this point too. She's not really, but he thinks she is.
Did you have to give a wedding gift each time?
Yeah.
Your dad got married?
Yeah. So your mom wants your dad's comeuppance? Yes. Very much so. Very much so.
The wives would give a wedding gift, and that was a new wife. Here's your new wife.
Yeah. Is Robin welcome in Pinedale? I'm sure she would be. It's not
She'd
like
be a celebrity.
I'm sure that she could go to Pinedale if she wanted to. I don't know why she would want to at any point.
Yeah, wait till you see. Yeah, dirt road's most of it. So
yeah, it's really out of Robin's.
Yeah,
she's so much better than Pinedale.
She's got $2 million home. She doesn't want to go back and see where
dirt roads
and trailers.
Somebody says the Lord has a sense of humor, so don't forget about that. Yeah. Jay Patel says, oh, he only had 9. I know, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I do know of men there was one man who left like 12 wives and 96 children. He just up and abandoned them all. And
he cheated with a younger girl.
Oh, he cheated with another. I didn't know that's why he left. Is that really why he left? Cheated with a younger girl. I mean, I'm not surprised, but yeah, he had 12 wives and 96 96 children that
These were the
And
role.
one mistress, or at least probably 2 or 3 or 4 mistresses.
Yeah, and
These
one
were
mistress.
the role models we grew up with.
And yet everything is supposed, that's what I've said to my mom a dozen times in the last week. What is holy about that? What is spiritual about that? What's holy about that? Things are so twisted and so made into such, there's such a perversion to it that it makes it really hard to find the spiritual religious part of it. And I had an aunt come over to visit my mom, and we got talking, and she was telling me some of her stories, and I'm like, tell me anything that's spiritual or holy about that. How does that make that religious and right? And it's hard to find the spirituality or what's the word I'm thinking of? How do you have faith in something that's become so perverted at such a level? So, yeah. Did Robin's sister stay in the AUB? Yes. She is still in the AUB and still has sister wives. Yep. So, wow, thank you. A lot of women to keep up with. So, yep. Okay, so now we really are going to end this because we are going up on 3 hours, and I was not going to go this long, but you guys are so interesting to talk to, and you guys bring up the best questions. So, we thank you guys all for following us and for all your questions. What do you want to say?
She would probably go up to Pinesdale to ride her dirt bike and.
Oh yeah, because all of her her four-wheelers and all those things that she loves.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you guys so much. I feel like we're turning into we love James, but I'm like 4 hours is so long, 3 hours is so long, but we get caught up and we love it so much. So thank you guys so much. If you don't follow us, please follow us. Like, subscribe, hit that bell so you never miss any of the episodes that we're talking about. And yeah, we'll be throwing out another video because we are doing a recap on season 3. So we have episode 5 coming out. I think we're going to be filming that tonight. So thank you guys all so much. We really appreciate all the support on our channel, and that's all we can really say. Thank you so much. Have a great night.
Yep. See you, Deb. See you, Katie. See all my family out there. So see all of my family. So
thank you.